Oh, I forgot where it was at. I don't even know where I'm at. Hey,
Right
welcome
here.
back. Oh, yeah, I see it. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Open Discussions, where we will be discussing various topics allowing women to understand us men and men to understand women, all in a respectful manner. With that being said, I'll introduce my co-host.
How y'all doing? Welcome back to another show. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Again, great start to the year. We got a lot of plans leading into the year, and with that being said, thank you to our guests for being here as well. So with that, I would like to introduce our special guest of the evening.
Hey.
We'll start with
The ladies first.
Ladies
Can you give
first.
us your name, your age, occupation, please?
Hello, so my name is Evelyn de la Garza, and I'm a life insurance trainer here in Dallas Fort Worth. I've been doing that for 4 years, and that's what I do full time.
Since the
Very nice.
pandemic.
Since the pandemic,
Yeah, okay.
I've been doing that since the pandemic.
very cool.
That's
okay.
good. That's good. All right, what about
Let's move on
guest
to our
over here?
special guest as
Yes.
well. Hell yeah.
What's up, everyone? My name is Axel. I'm a director and
rid of
producer,
this shit.
and
Hold on.
I met Ariel, I think a week or two ago. We
That's
did an
right.
episode together that is coming out soon, and the guys invited me today to come and talk about different topics. So I'm super excited to be here, and I love podcasting. I love getting to do conversations. I think we need to talk more about all the things that are interesting and important for people, and especially when you can get different people from different walks of life and people who actually disagree on things. I think that's the best conversation when you can actually come at it from a different perspective, you know?
Yeah.
So super excited and grateful to be here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time. Appreciate your time as well, Evelyn. And then we have one more person coming as well a little bit later. But my first question will be, with that being said, did you vote Trump or Kamala? I'm just joking. All right, I'm just joking. Everybody, I'm just joking. Complete
That's
joke. Complete
crazy.
joke. Honestly, first joke though would be, what is one book? Well, I would want to get to, but what is one book that has actually like changed your life after reading it, where it made you think about, okay, maybe I want to do things a little bit differently in this field, or I actually want to change my life now because you read the book?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Ooh, so I think I have several books. I think the first one, the main one, is Atomic Habits. I don't know if you have ever
Atomic Habits?
Atomic
Yes.
Habits.
Oh,
That's-
yeah.
yeah. That's a pretty good book.
Oh yeah.
I think we live off of habits, right? And it's something that I've struggled with since I was little, just little things. So definitely that book teaches you that basically it's on you. It's on you to be successful. It's on you to wake up. It's on you to grind. Or it's depending on the life that you want, you know, your habits build you. And it doesn't matter how much you want to be successful in life or big. It all comes down to your habits.
Do you feel like motivation is important? Do you feel like motivation is
Ooh, that's a
something
good
that
one.
yeah.
Motivation. Okay. Motivation with direction is important.
Motivation
think-
with direction. Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think we live in a TikTok world, right? And everyone's getting motivated. Everyone's doing the black and white with the motivational song in the back.
Yeah.
It's great.
She's talking about me, bro.
Yeah.
So that's great, right? But I think as a person and you're watching that, what is that taking you to? You know, what is that
Yeah.
taking you to? What do you want to do in life with that motivation? You can't live off, you know, scrolling TikTok before you go to sleep, watching all these motivational videos if you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think the results speak for you.
Real quick, that's Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah, no, for
James
sure. I actually have the book too. It's crazy. Yeah,
I don't have the book, but on Audible, guys get Audible. You can just listen
Yeah,
to
it's
the
a
book.
really good book.
How do you feel about motivation? Do you feel like it's important to have, or do you feel like maybe discipline is much more important to have as a person, as a human being?
I think motivation is really sexy, and we're wired to
Yeah.
have that. It's almost like the salt,
Yeah.
but the steak is actually the discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the hard part to actually get. You know, like when you think about your life and all the things that you're dealing with, you're really motivated to maybe like have dinner. Everything else is just a grind.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is like, I have to get up and have to work because I have to make money. Even when you're doing like what you love. Like for me, like I work in a creative medium. I get to go out and shoot videos and like talk to people and like do fun stuff, and every day is different, but it's still work.
Yeah.
And you know, I do get a lot of motivation from different people that I follow, all the content that I watch. I agree with you, the whole thing with TikTok. I was looking at this video the other day, and the guy was talking about intellectual obesity, where when you think about the amount of information that you're consuming every single day, like the average person spends 2 to 3 hours watching social media.
Oh, yeah.
Every day. The average person, that's the number. It's just way too much. So how do you take that motivation and bring it back to the discipline and like what you were saying about the habits? I think that's super impactful. But I would bring it back to the why.
Yeah. What's your reasoning?
Yeah. Like, why is it that you're doing this one thing? And you almost have to like trick yourself sometimes to say, okay, I'm going to do all of these hard things because I have this why at the end that is better than the fact that I don't want to get up, or I have to suck up to this person because I want to get them to like me so I can get the sale, so I can make the money, so I can go back to Mexico, so I can help my dad, you know?
Absolutely.
Like that kind of reasoning, I think that's where you can force yourself to take it from motivation to action and then go into results.
Do you feel like your goal has to be that big and that important that it has to kind of scare you a little bit to say, okay, if it scares me, it's that big? Do you feel like it's that important to have a big goal and say, okay, this is what I'm like working towards, and this is where my dedication and my discipline, my purpose is where it's at?
I don't think the goal is what matters.
Yeah.
I think what you actually have to focus in is, who are you?
Yeah.
Who do you want to become? When you can put that first, then what is that person doing every day?
Yeah.
How should I react when I don't want to do the workout, but who am I? Like, I'm Axel, I make movies, I'm going to take Hollywood by storm, I'm going to do all this stuff. I cannot be a wimp.
Yeah, of course.
And be like, no, I don't want to do the workout because I have to go do the interview. I have to like go do the workout because like that's who I am.
Exactly.
I think we focus so much on goals, but goals to me are secondary.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in defining who you are.
Absolutely.
And if you can help someone, and that's why I love stories so much. When you think about it, the story that you tell yourself about yourself is the most important piece of like information that you can actually control and repeat to yourself every day.
Yeah.
But if you let other people to tell you how that should be, if you let TikTok to like, you're always going to be moving this way, moving
Well,
that
it's
way.
kind of like a reminder for you, for yourself, right? Like you mentioning certain things and kind of speaking out loud and speaking to yourself, right? Because the one person that knows you best is yourself. You can't lie to yourself. So you know what you're doing right and what's wrong, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in a sense of what you were saying, does your dream have to be big enough that it scares you? In a sense, depending on what you're trying to do, like he's saying, who you are, it does have to scare you, but it doesn't. Because if you're just trying to be a chef and create a restaurant, I mean, you can do that without it having to be a scary thing. The scariest thing about it might just be, you spending all this money to start it and it doesn't get going. But if you're just trying to be a chef, then maybe the restaurant isn't even in your category. You're just like, I just want to be a chef. I just need to go to culinary school, get certified in that, and now I can just go be a chef in somebody else's restaurant. And like now, all he found out was, hey, I found myself. I don't want to be a restaurant owner. I just want to be a chef and work for somebody else and make really good dishes and et cetera,
your creation,
So,
your art, of course.
maybe.
I think, you're in sales. Sorry, you're in sales too, right? And I think in sales, there's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of,
100%.
Like, come on, you got, But at the end of the day, just like Axel was saying, it's what's your direction. And I think discipline is a lot more important.
100%.
When you're in sales, and I've learned that the hard way, you can be motivated all you want, but if you're not making the calls, if you're not keeping up with clients, if you're not doing follow-ups, like if you're not doing the dirty work, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. So I think discipline is harder than motivation because that's really on you. People can't discipline you. Like it's either in you or you work on it or lo que sea. But motivation is everywhere now. And it's cool. I love to see a motivated community. But what are you going for? A lot of people don't know what they're going for, and it's okay. Like I'm in entrepreneurship, right? And I tell my team, maybe you don't want to own a business. Maybe you want to work as a teacher or as an office secretary, and that's totally fine. Not everybody is meant to. For business, but your heart knows whenever like, esto es lo mío, like this is what I'm made for. And then just like Axel said, instead of looking at the big picture, the goals, okay, what's going to take me to this? What are the small steps? I think many times we forget the small steps. We look at the big steps like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. What are the small steps? It's waking up early. It's making those calls. It's
It's all the
stars.
boring stuff.
It's the boring stuff. It's really
It's the things
boring
you do to
stuff.
compound, right? And over time, you see you actually see what comes out of that. Now, let me ask you guys this: how important is your social circle, and how does that impact your growth into aligning to your vision? Is your social circle important?
Yeah, I would say it's super important. In general, I don't even hang out with that many people, but if I did, it would be those people that are semi in the same area that I'm trying to go. If I'm trying to better myself and read books and go to the gym, I'm not going to hang out with people going to the club every weekend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'm not just going to, it wouldn't make sense. Our goals aren't aligning in the bigger picture of it all. So there's no point in even hanging out with them in a sense. I mean, every now and then it's completely fine, but every single weekend it's not, because it goes back to what we're saying. Yeah. My habits aren't even, the atomic habits are not even lining up with the bigger goal of the whole thing, which is not going out every weekend. And, obviously alcohol on your body when you're trying to build muscle and go to the gym and stuff, it's just, it cancels everything out. So there's no point. So your inner circle is like the biggest thing, even if it's just 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, I was going to say that, even if it's small. Thing.
Yeah.
For me, I think you have to go through stages in life. And that social circle should be different depending on the stage that you are right now. So, like, let's say you're a kid right now, you're 21, watching the podcast. You need to go and meet as many people as possible. And I think you need to go out there and try to make friendships, know good people, bad people, all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So, for the next 5 years, just go meet everyone.
Yeah.
And be friendly with everyone. Then, once you get in your late 20s, you start picking out a few people. And you start building a little bit more of a close knit with those people.
Yeah.
Then when you're in your 30s, I feel like with that group of people, then you start going out and making adjacent friendships.
Connections.
Yep.
Yes. Where you have, you went from like, humans are only designed to have about 150 social connections at a given time. That's why you see that people fall off of your life as time goes by because of geography and like intersections of like social circumstances. You just don't have that many people around you. So 150 is like the sweet spot of the people that you remember, and that you kind of have top of mind.
Yeah.
But your circle becomes smaller as you age.
Yeah.
And you see that with like older people. Also, their friends start dying off.
Yeah, no, that's the bad part. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think you have to look at what stage of life are you in. And usually the advice that you hear, like, oh, you become the 5 people that you're around. Blah, blah. Everybody hears that. We all know that. But are you 21? Are you 31? Are you 41?
What season are you going through?
Yes. And what do you need in that season? Because you need different things. Like, if you're a young guy and you're trying to hit the gym, you need to know 20 people that go to the gym. Especially if 10 girls and 10 guys. So, like, at least you have a good mix. I think we get too obsessed with this idea of, like, the 5 people. It's like, just look at what stage of your life are you in.
Absolutely.
And how can those relationships help you?
What kind of value they carry, right? Because if your social circle does not carry value in how they help you grow in different ways, like for example, right? I mean, I have a very close and tight circle, right? But each one of them carry their own value, and I provide my value on my end too. So it's like, I think it's very important to be very selective on who you allow in your circle. And that's what ultimately, if you're headed, like you mentioned, if you're all like in the same vision, you guys are locked in the right way, then that motivation comes in naturally, but that discipline has already been built, right? And so for you to have that social circle, it's like you're only complementing it with your peers, right? So yeah, no, for sure. I feel like it's very important to.
How does it work? I'm curious for you, being a female and being in business. Because you don't have that many girls that want to do business and do that kind of stuff.
No, and that's a very good question. Honestly, I think you do find, other women, but I think it's easier for men in that way, because men are usually the one like, I'm going to go put a business, y voy a hacer esto, y le voy a dar con todo. And as a woman, for example, I don't have kids yet, right? And a lot of my friends, they already have kids. So they're in a different season. They're in a different circle. They're in a different, but I try to connect with them in a way of, I work from home, right? And I train agents to work from home, so I connect that with their needs. I think an amazing thing about sales is always connecting with the need of the prospect, right? I don't so much say, oh, look, you can be a business owner. No, work from home. Start your business from home. And that's what I've been doing. A lot of my agents have kids. They have their husbands. They have, wife duties, but they're able to start a business from home. And that's where I come in. And I think as a leader, it's very important to just make them better in every area, But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's a little hard. You do find women, especially now in 2025, they either do lashes or they do nails, or there's a lot. Everybody wants to be a CEO now, right? Everybody wants to own a business. Yeah. It's awesome. So you find those women, and it's just a matter of. But I think keeping your circle small is always the best. You don't want to have a big group of people. I think a small support system is going to take you really far. And me personally, I like my support system being older than me. Older than me, married, with more experience. I always tell myself, you have to be like the dumbest in the room, the most broke girl in the room.
You're a student to the game.
I look up to my circle.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this: what's your style of training with your team?
So we do a lot of work from home, right? And so I do insurance and investments, but a big part of that is training them on how to do sales, right? How to talk to other families, how to find a mentor when it comes to sales. So it's a lot of training them on time management. If you're working from home, you got to learn how to manage your time. Because so time management, how to be productive. We call them power hours, right? Even if it's 3 hours a day that you're going to dedicate for your work from home, but those 3 hours, you're going to be fully focused and locked in. I think when you work from home and you own a business, it's so easy to wake up, you walk your dogs, and you make a couple calls. Then you go get breakfast, and then you make a couple calls. Y se te va todo el día. You wasted so much time in between instead of just locking in for a couple hours. But it all comes down to, what do you want in life? What do you want in life? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? And are you okay with going through all of that? Or do you, como dijo David, do you want to have a job? And it's totally fine, whatever you decide. But you have to know what you want.
Yeah. I think it's really hard for women because usually women are not as ambitious just by nature.
Right.
You're not meant to go out there and hunt and like want more and more and more. Like for guys, we're wired to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult for women, especially when I feel like there's a lot of push, like you said, for women to be CEOs, to do business, to do this, to do that. But you're absolutely right. If you find that, okay, if I only work 4 to 5 hours and I'm part of a team and I can do this, you don't have to be forced to be a CEO and like have more employees and like do all these crazy hours, and like it's okay if you because I think as a woman your needs are different, and sometimes going back to motivation and TikTok and all that, we're seeing all these people that are making supposedly like $100K a month doing 2 hours of work.
Like, all that.
That's such lies. Like, doing business is hard. It's hard. And I would imagine for a woman it's even harder when you have to go and do the sales and like getting rejected over and over and over and over. It's not fun.
Well, actually, so the style of the company I work in, right? And I've told you guys this before, but there's a certain style as to how my company moves, right? And not to like, actually, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm talking about shit. Hell yeah. No, I'll give him the sauce because my boss is intelligent. Like I look up to him. He's my mentor. He's got a certain style as how he goes about sales, right? And there's a certain team that we've built, and I've kind of built that team, and it's been like very strategically placed, right? And the way we have to see it is like, okay, look, for me, as an example, like I will go after certain businesses, warehousing, hotels, all that, and sports venues as well, right? But I have to do a little extra work, right? There's a certain way. My style is like very open, very about like, I want to know about your whole business. I want to ask you certain questions as to what's working, what's not, and how can I add value to your business, right? Whereas like some of the women that we have in our team. And look, I applaud it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some of the girls on there, like, they just know how to do it. And it really comes down to how you move as a woman, because a lot of the clientele is there's a lot of guys, right? Do you know how to be sensual? Not sexual, sensual. Do you know how to attract without being like too over the line? You know what I'm saying? And if you know how to do that, then shit, like, it's an easy sell.
That's
you know what I mean? Like
that's actually a skill a woman could learn.
Yeah, hell yeah. And
how can I get my way without being submissive
exactly
or too sexual to him to give? Because a lot of girls can use their sexuality to get what they want from a man, but that's not really what they want.
Yeah.
It's almost that flower thing where girls will say, I don't want you to give me flowers because I told you, I want you to do it because you want to do it. Yeah. So it's almost that sense of I want to convince him that he wants this or is going to take on the service just by saying certain words a certain way, and I want him to take me serious and not just look at me as, you know, sexuality.
Yeah, but it's impossible.
It really is, because there's a lot of look. You know what? I recently went to an account that was left by an employee that we had, right, sales girl, and I showed up, and homeboy was like, oh, I thought I was going to meet the girl. Nah, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're meeting me. What's up? You know what I mean?
I'm here now.
Your hair is too short.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, no,
your
but
hair is too short, too tall.
But to your point, it's like, you just got to know, again, I don't feel it's difficult. It's just you got to know how to work it. Like, you have to know how to be a little more on your sensual side. Right? Because us guys, we look at physical more than anything, right? I mean, let's just be real. Right. And again, you know how to work it that way. Again, the sell's there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be too extra with like having to try to sleep with anybody. That's not the idea.
It's almost the same thing if you flip it the other way with the male salesman and then him trying to convince the woman to take on the whatever it is.
Oh, you know how many times, like, you know how many older women like who are like prospects? Oh, I could tell they, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to hit on me, and I'm just like, I'm
just coming here to do my job.
I'm just here. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm good. Like, but
appreciate that.
There's got to be a certain way on how to like go about those things. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I got a question from left field. Way left field. Yeah. All right, so by the time you guys are 40, what would be something your people around you would say about you? You would want them to say about you?
You look like you're 32.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
Oh, I hope they keep saying that forever.
Yeah, I want to stay as young as possible, man. I think since I was young, I always wanted to be like the cool dad. Yeah. You know, like stay hip. It's difficult. I'm starting to get in the older demographic now. Yeah. And like even with my son, like we're really close, and I try to stay on top of everything. But yeah, I think being able to stay close to my son's perspective of the world in terms of like music, games, like what are the cool, like what's cool,
what's in,
I really want that to stay with me at least until I'm 45. After that, I'm okay, like turning into old dude.
Yeah. Do you kind of teach them a little bit of like the old school stuff, like this is what it used to be? Like, do you spend time doing that?
I try not to.
Okay.
And this is why. We all hated that when we were kids.
Yeah.
At least for me, like with my grandma telling me about the old, like I don't like that. I'm also a very forward-thinking person, and I've always been like an early adopter,
of course,
with technology and the future. Like I'm more interested about the future than interested about the past. The one thing that I still try to talk to him about is Cuba, where I came from, how things were, without being too overly repetitive. And I'm trying to find that balance, which of course at some point I'm going to get wrong, but that's what I'm trying. That he knows, hey, your dad and you, like your past was terrible and now it's amazing, and that's why we are doing what we're doing. That's why you have to be excellent. That's why you have to try hard. That's why you can do whatever it is that you want to do, because we already came from really bad circumstances, and now we're here and we have to take advantage of everything that's happening.
So. Yeah, you can't repeat it. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. What's up, Nancy? How you doing? Welcome in.
She wants to take a shot off camera.
Is you want what? Is you want,
Hey, as long as they don't see nothing, it don't matter.
Here, pass me a cup and then
yeah, absolutely. So we got So Nancy, we got a little bit of some random bottle there, or we have Centenario.
Hey, don't think that I forgot. I want both of y'all to finish too, and then Nancy will say
This
her
one?
point.
Oh, you
that's
don't?
fine.
Then try this
We'll
one.
just try
You'll
this
like
one.
you'll like the
real
grapefruit.
sweet.
It's fire.
Sweet. Yeah, it's real
It's
sweet.
fire.
You look so cute. You look so
Oh, thank you.
pretty.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, yeah, the jacket completes the outfit for sure.
Yes.
Nah, you gotta leave it on.
Yeah, the
You-
jacket. Yeah, you should.
Comes with
Yeah,
it.
you should wear that. That's
Yeah,
fire.
yeah,
The
yeah.
jacket's fire.
Yeah, straight up.
Good then.
No sponsorship.
I wish I knew Spanish.
Although we're sponsoring Squirt at the very beginning. Yeah.
Squirt.
Squirt. Hell yeah.
Square? What do you mean?
Because it was in the shot when we introduced you.
I thought you said square.
No,
He
no,
was
no,
like,
Squirt.
We got
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Y'all got that sponsorship.
Would you like to have a mixed drink with Squirt?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
How are you doing? You wanna drink yourself, Evelyn?
No, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I have
What
one.
about you? You're good.
I'm good with mine.
Yeah, I don't have none.
David,
you
you want-
this one though? I'm gonna take
Okay,
some of this
well,
audio.
thought I'd-
this one's better than
Thought
that.
I'd ask all the way
This
around.
one's better than that other
You know what I'm
one.
saying?
So
Okay,
yeah, you,
well.
Ariel, by the time you're 30,
Part two.
Hey,
Hey,
look,
no, we're still in part one.
No, we're still nah.
We
and so
didn't still in part
let's
one.
go ahead and let's go.
Evelyn, there is nothing we could talk about that would get you in trouble
Absolutely.
at all whatsoever. Guaranteed.
Let's go ahead and let's pivot into
Hey,
introducing.
answer my question.
I want to answer his question.
Yeah.
Just-
Okay,
I-
go ahead,
We gotta
ahead.
introduce Nancy.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
So your
go ahead.
question was, what would people want to say, right? About
but when
I
you're
think
40.
with me when I'm 40, so I'm 28, right? So that's in a couple years. Is
Couple years,
a
girl.
couple
12.
years.
12.
I know, but that's
That
It
goes
would-
by faster than you can imagine.
yes.
No, it
so
does, it
I
does,
would- I
but-
would say for me is she left a legacy or she's leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want to be remembered for. You know, not only para mi familia, but just my community. If I think everybody that knows me knows I'm big on community. I'm big on building, strong communities and leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
Leaving my circle way better than how I came into it. That would be me. So who's next?
Ariel.
Yeah, then
But
we
that's
have to
very.
introduce-
But y'all both said very similar things right there.
And I
like
have a
that.
similar mindset too. And that's
Yeah.
why I think like I always get along so well with other Capricorn women because
Oh, you guys
Cap- y'all
Capricorns?
Caps?
Oh shit.
she's a Capricorn.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was a
Try to get the mic closer to you.
Oh,
There you go.
I just feel like it's so important to leave the world a better place than you found it in. So that's why like my mission is also to provide value to my community.
I like that. Real quick, can you give us your name, age, and occupation?
Absolutely. Hi everybody, my name's Nancy. I am the founder and owner of Cosmic Beauty, located in Dallas, Texas, where we offer transformative skincare and brow care. And today, for all of our listeners at the Open Discussion Podcast, I am going to be honoring $25 off if you book. Just leave in the comments open discussions, and you get $25 off of your first facial treatment.
Let's
Oh, so I can go get a
go.
facial
I'm just
treatment?
gonna go
That to my
comment
wife.
that.
Hell
I
yeah.
might need to get that too.
No, I'm trying to get a facial treatment too. Shit. Hell yeah.
I got you after show.
Yeah, right now I'm currently using the ordinary.
You need to level up your skincare.
I am hyaluronic acid with vitamin C and E, and then Himalayan salt as a
That does work.
As an exfoliant.
With some water.
Exfoliate.
Some water. You seen those guys that
Yeah.
they got the bowl of water
Glass
and they
skin.
pour it in and
Yeah,
they put
yeah,
the
yeah.
salt and then they just put their face
and then
in there.
and then I
That's
got
that
like
TikTok stuff.
look, I got an old school cream from like my grandmother called concha. You ever heard of it?
You brought it to
Concha,
the
yeah,
podcast.
we like concha.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta love
oh, yeah.
conchas. You can't not love conchas.
You ever seen it? You ever
Yeah,
tried
I've
it?
seen it. It's pink
Fire.
too, right? It's
I've
pink.
seen
Yeah,
it.
you
Fire,
should
bro,
use
fire. I'm telling you, it like lightens your
it. Smells
skin.
like concha too.
It smells like
But
straight
you're
up
gonna
like
smell
butter.
like your grandma.
It
No,
smells
no,
like
no.
conchas.
Yeah, it smells
like
great.
concha.
By the way, we're sponsoring concha here. Sponsors for the evening.
Concha. Hey, so what about you? What would you, and you can answer this too, what would you want people to say about you or your friends about you when
In
you're
my
40?
40s?
No, when you're 40.
When I'm 40. Yeah, that I took the right steps going into my 40s, man. I don't see myself, I kind of told myself that I'd give myself to 35 to really like, find what it is that I wanted. I already know what I want. But going into my 40, being 40, that motherfucker, like, he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell yeah. Like, we believed in him and he did it. And that's exactly where I'm headed. Like, that's what I'm seeing now. So.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Nancy? When you're 40, what would you like your friends to say about you?
I mean, I feel like I answered this question already, but
Okay.
it
Yeah, sorry,
like
you're right.
same thing that like they've mentioned. Like, I mean, for me, it's not so much people telling me, "Oh, she made it." It's more like, "Dang, she made an impact in my life," and I hope that like creates a ripple effect in people in order to continue doing that for other people, and so like that way, everybody gets put on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You give them the ladder and hope
Exactly.
that they can climb up.
And I have already seen that. Like, that's why right now I'm super careful. I've, just like a lot of you, I've been told, like, oh, I look up to you. And, I don't take that lightly anymore. I used to, but now I'm just like, people are looking at me. So I don't really have an option but to, like, make things happen anymore. Like, yeah, it's like a responsibility. That's why I was someone, I had actually got a lot of feedback because I was coming back to the podcast and everybody's like, oh, we're ready to see you hold it down. And I was like, I can't be.
I feel that.
And I was like, as much as like,
Hey, the last podcast was pretty, you know what I'm saying?
And y'all know me, like, I could argue for days. I was gonna go to law school. Not thankfully, but like, I didn't take that route. I could argue for days, but I don't. There are people that look up to me that are watching this, and I have to like really keep in mind of how I'm gonna be like coming off.
Of course.
So, and that's one thing that comes with like just, I guess you guys saying it, making it. It comes with a bigger responsibility. Like I wouldn't call myself a leader, but I would call myself someone that like enjoys putting people in the right direction.
Yeah, both of y'all's answers sound the same, and it's funny. It's just funny because y'all's answers are from two women, right?
Right.
And then I listen to their answers and kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm like, our answers are completely. No,
Go for it. Yeah.
I'm saying our answers are completely different of what it was. Like you're saying, y'all are like, we have to be this standard, and have this responsibility, and we understand that as well. But as a man, you're almost to a point where you're like, who gives a fuck? I still just have to be myself.
Well, it's what he mentioned.
That's what he mentioned. That's what I said. I'm thinking the same way he's thinking, where it's like, who really cares what everybody else thinks? As long as you're doing what you need to do.
Right.
If you're gonna weed out the ones that you want to follow you anyways, like the ones that don't follow you, cool, don't follow me. That's fine. That's how it should be, because you're not part of the journey that we're trying to be on. And that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to weed out the people that are supposed to be there.
Why do you feel like that perception is taken from people from the outside? Like, is social media really that impactful to people, for people to see and be like, oh, I already know who that kind of person he is, but they don't really know who you are?
No,
like,
they don't know
why do
who
you
you
feel
are.
like that's like a big take as to why people see you in a different perspective?
Well, your brain is made to make quick judgments on everything, right? So you have about 3 seconds to make a first impression.
Yeah.
And think about it. If you spend 2 hours scrolling, the average view is 3 to 5 seconds. How many pieces of video are you going to see in those 2 hours in a day? Multiply that by 365. You're a machine of making quick judgment on people. So they just go straight to the first thing that comes to mind, and that's what they're going to put on you without even knowing anything about your life.
They run with the narrative of that 3 to 5 seconds. Absolutely. They run with the narrative of what it is. They don't look to do the research and go further and say, oh, let me take a deep dive and see if that's actually his character. I'm just going to go off the first resemblance of what he said, and that's who he is.
And it's also compounded by the other 300 dudes that they saw with a suit and a mic talking about whatever and saying whatever BS. True. And they're like, okay, you suit, microphone, podcast, fake scammer. All these other
trying to sell a course.
Dude, I've even seen people like doing fake podcast clips where like I know they shot it and it's not a real podcast. It's like they just sat there. Why are you laughing, Roger? Do you have any insight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Hell yeah.
I got a couple of people who actually pay me to do that kind of content for them.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
I honestly forgot about that, and I honestly was talking about some other people.
But it makes sense.
But that's tailored to who they are. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah, no,
taking the shortcut.
I see what he's saying though. Like it's a lot of like right now short clip content is where it's at, right? And where did it start? Let's be real. It started with
Vine.
No, not Vine. But who was like the first people to do it? Now I don't mean to put them up there, but I would say it's the Tate brothers, because they started clip farming a lot. No, they did though. They did, especially in 2019, 2020. That's what it took off.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, that's when it took off. But
Yeah.
also too, you got to think like Vine was a thing, bro. People were making 5.
But TikTok is Vine now.
I mean, but you said where did it start?
Oh, yeah.
Now
It really
people
did start
was
from Vine
mainstream.
because Vine couldn't get its push up.
Yeah, but
relaunch.
he's talking more about the whole phenomenon of the
Of the-
podcast.
yeah,
and the people spouting things, and
Yeah.
then everyone jumping on the comments and hating them and all that. Yeah, it's tricky. Like, I just posted a couple of videos about, Cuba, communism, America, would that work here? I'm fighting people. Like, every morning I wake up and I fight with a few people, and then before going to bed I check again and I fight with them again. And I'm arguing.
But you entertain it though, like
Is that where you're
You
from?
have to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, for me, I'm using it because
Yeah.
I know it's the algorithm. And
Yeah.
I actually am passionate about talking about that because it's like, hey, I came from a shitty country.
Yeah.
America's amazing. We need to remember that America is amazing.
Yeah.
And remember that. Don't change it too much because the country is actually really good,
Yeah.
even without the problems that we have. But then these people are saying that I'm disingenuous, that I'm lying, that I need to read a history book. Motherfucker, I was born there.
Yeah.
How are you gonna tell
experience,
me?
Of course.
And they're making assumptions
Yeah.
because I look a certain way and I speak a certain way. They're like, "Oh, you're pretending that you know what happens." I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I like that because
Yeah.
I kind of went back and forth with somebody the other day. They posted some political stuff, and I said something to her, and basically to sum up what she was saying was, no matter who you voted for, lie in the bed you voted for whoever you voted for. And it's like you're saying there, where you didn't come from America and you're like, I love America. And she was born in America and she's like, die in the grave you picked. And I'm just like, why are you thinking like that? And you come from America and you're saying you don't like America. But everybody else who comes from America, from another country, they love it. And it's like we're blinded to how amazing it is because we're born here.
Yeah.
It's like they said, that's why you see all these immigrants coming here and they're motivated and they're ready to go. And that's why you see all these Jews that are making all this money and et cetera, because they weren't here. They weren't born here to see how amazing it was. So when they got here, they hit the ground running. And then you can't blame nobody else but yourself because you weren't grinding like they were grinding. Like we said, that motivation runs out. They're dedicated at this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is my life's duty, is to get my family to the next level and so on and so forth and et cetera. We don't think like that. We're just like, hey, how can we make the next paycheck? How can we get to next week?
100%.
How can we get to next week? And they're like, yo, I'm not even thinking about next week. I'm thinking about my kids and my family's kids and their kids and their kids. And those are the immigrants thinking like that. Americans don't really think like that. We're thinking, when's our next check coming? And how much am I getting paid?
We're very programmed to that system,
Yes.
absolutely. Let me go on to you girls, right? So how do you feel about that perception that you get from an outside point of view when people look at you, let's say your social media, all that? Like, what's your take on that?
I used to entertain it because just like him, I'm very passionate when it comes to insurance, and there's a lot of obviously there's a lot of products out there and a lot of people working it different. But I think I decided to stop entertaining it. Yeah. It was just taking my energy, and sometimes you're not gonna make people understand. At least in the insurance world, a veces you just can't. At least not through messaging. So I personally just go a different route. Posting content, just like Nancy, I agree with her. I'm very careful with how other people view me, right? And it's not that we're people pleasers. It's not. But I think as a woman, at least that's how I was raised. You have to be careful on how I have a younger sister. I have younger cousins, and my future kids are gonna go back to my stuff and see it. And I want to give a good example to them. I want them to know me as, hey, she was hardworking. She was strong-minded in certain areas. But she always took care of her reputation. That's my take.
I think you should still argue with those people.
I used to. Trust me, I used to all the time. I was like, ooh, because it fires you up, and it's interesting. It's interesting to know how other people think. But I think I just got so busy that I'm like, look, I don't even have time for you. But if you want to connect on Zoom and we can meet at Starbucks and we can
argue
let's argue face to face, but not
Hell yeah, Starbucks, hell yeah. Shit.
What about you?
I personally don't entertain it, and I also personally don't care, to what they have in my I get comments all the time,
Yeah.
like people saying, you know, because I have, if you follow my personal Instagram, I have some pictures that are a little bit more out there. And some people, like, someone was like, I hope, like, you know, like, this is like no father behavior. And I showed that comment to my dad, and he just laughs. We both laugh, and we're just like, at the end of the day, the people in the comments, there are people that have additional time and they don't know what else to do with it other than to bring people down. And so for me, I'm not going to exchange my energy with them because I get no value from it. So I really don't care how people see me. I know how I see myself and how my clients see me. Those are the people that pay my bills. So
that is true. I like that concept.
How do you see it?
How do I see what the outside perception? I really don't. Honestly, kind of like I just really don't care.
Yeah,
I don't. Honestly, I could read bad comments and I'd be like, "Dang, are they right?" And even if they were right, I'd be like, "Oh well, I'm still gonna." It'll wear off after 2 or 3 minutes, and you just keep going. I just really don't care about it. I read this book. It was "The Courage to Be Disliked." I've said this so many times. I forget who wrote it, but that book is literally the epitome of what we're talking about, where it's just like, who cares about whatever else you're going? If your mom doesn't want you to be with this guy or girl,
for sure.
It's literally always like that.
It's always the weirdest people.
Well, going back to the book that you were talking about with Machiavelli, if you use that line of thought, what you would do is just use that energy to propel whatever it is that you're building and bring attention to whatever it is that you're doing. Because like even with you, the example with insurance, if you get people arguing and saying, "Oh, that's a scam" or whatever, you reply to them, they reply, you reply.
It's an ongoing.
Yeah.
So if I comment to your thing and I see that your video has 25 comments, I'm like, oh, she's getting engagement. Then I click on it, and then I'm going to read your thought process.
The back and forth.
So then now I'm educated in how you think. And that hater just gave you a platform for you to be able to expand on your knowledge, the thing that you're passionate.
That's good.
And it keeps getting that number up. So that's what I was saying. You should go argue with those people.
It's almost like they say, good publicity, good or bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
It really is. And honestly, there was this thing we had, I don't even know how long, this was back in January. Yeah, there was this thing we had back in January that was bad for publicity for us.
Oh,
for sure. It never
sure.
really came out, but we were all discussing, we were like, oh, should we say something? Should we not say something? We were like, if they did say something, it's fine. Let them say something. Even if the narrative is bad about us, that's fine because we know we did nothing. So as long as we held our ground and we know what the truth is, then that's all that's going to matter at the end.
I believe you should have like your core values and then just make sure you don't stray away too much, you know, away from them. Like if I want to be known as being respectful, you know, professional. Más que nada, I want them to know me as, hey, Evelyn's very professional. She's educating. So whatever goes along that, I'll do it. But anything that goes away from that, like I try to be careful with, you know, the way that I talk sometimes or certain topics, you know, why? Yeah. Because I lead a team of agents and I don't want them saying, oh, that's my leader. Look at her.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
I disagree with you on that. I think you need to just own up to what you believe. And if they say, oh, that's my leader and she's talking about this and I disagree, I'm more like what you were saying. If they disagree, you don't need to be here.
You probably don't even want them. You probably don't even
but
want them in your
I also do think that it's healthy to disagree with people.
It is. You're right.
We're not going to all agree with each other. I mean, like, I'm from Mexico. You're from Cuba. You guys are, I'm assuming, the United States. Like, we're all going to have different perspectives. We were raised differently. So it's totally impossible to have the same line of thought as somebody else. And, I mean, why would you want to please everybody?
You don't want to be a people pleaser.
I've never been one.
It feels disingenuous.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never been one. Why would I start today?
It feels very disingenuous when you're trying to please everybody.
Oh, 100%.
Very disingenuous. You're trying to please her, him. It's just like, damn, you really, who are you?
And I understand your point. Like, trust me, I understand your point. I'm almost like I'm older and I've been in business longer. So I'm coming from the future and telling you, don't worry too much about what everyone thinks, because at the core, you want to be respectful. So everything that fits your worldview of what it means to be respectful and professional, go with it. The moment you start worrying too much about what other people think, you're never going to win that battle, because someone is going to be upset that you wore a black shirt and it's showing too much, or like your hair is like this, or like I was working on this TV show. And one of the like people high up, like I walked by it and he's like, he was upset about something else, but then he took it out on me. He's like, why are you so tall? I'm like,
Sorry
fuck
that
do
I'm
you mean?
tall.
nothing I can do
Yeah,
about that.
my bad.
There's always something that people are gonna
Right.
find that they don't like about you. The craziest thing, and like the more you start making content and all that, like the more you're gonna find crazy people.
I will say for women, we do get a little bit more backlash than men, just like naturally. I don't know what it is. It's not just women hate you, but also men hate you because if you're successful, pretty, all of this, guess what? Now you have a, like, for guys, I feel like you guys don't get as much hate from women, but not from other men who are not in y'all's, like, position. But for us, like, especially, like, in, like, the line of work that I'm in, like, some people just dislike me. And I'm like, that's okay.
For no reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
women.
guys.
Women and men.
I feel like guys just don't like you because you said no to them at the D.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's what
That's
I was
all.
saying.
Really,
It's because
because I've
because they
had-
probably feel like either they don't have the chance or the opportunity to like meet you in person, or you giving them the time. That's really what it is. It's just haters, right? But us guys, like, how do we measure ourselves? How do we size each other up? Is who can outdo the other, right?
I thought it was what a rule.
That's really what it is. Like, but women like will size each other up based on their looks. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's wearing that, like, ew. You know what I'm
It's not
saying?
even cute. Yeah,
No, it's
that's how
crazy,
they
right?
think. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
like,
how
oh,
it
that's not
is.
even cute. That's a cute, not cute outfit. The hair color is so ugly on her.
But they hate on the confidence. That's what it is.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of
wish
insecurity
they had
within
that
themselves.
confidence.
100%. Yeah.
Real quick, I like how you said I'm from the future with the experience. I like that. That was
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna use that. I'm
Yeah.
from the future.
yeah.
Hey, real quick, this is a question for mainly y'all three because you don't have kids either, right? Okay, and we have kids, and that's why I want to ask y'all, and then maybe hear our perspective a little bit. What do you think is the most important thing about raising kids? Whether it's 1, 2, 12.
They don't have kids yet.
Exactly. So,
But what
is
would
their
be-
mindset
what would be,
from
like,
who
kinda-
have
yeah.
kids, and then from men
And
that
then we're
already
gonna
have
tell them
kids.
we're from the future.
Yeah.
It would be to raise a productive member of society that's going to also, like, benefit the world. Like, I mean, of course, like, at the end of the day, you can't control what your kids are going to do and their outcomes, but I feel like if you put your kids on the proper path to succeed, you can really put your heads ahead of them because, you know, obviously me, I don't come from money. And my parents, unfortunately, they were new to this country, so they didn't have the opportunity to put me ahead. But I have that opportunity,
To
so
put
I
your
would
kids
take
ahead.
advantage of doing that.
For me, it's very important for my future kids to teach them about identity, and I think it's something very important, especially now in the world that we live in. There's so many identities that they can catch on to, right? So I think you teach them that at home. And ever since I was younger, I was big on identity. Like, who am I? What are my values? What are my standards? What am I going to say no to? Because that doesn't go with me, right? As much as it's trendy and everyone's doing it, and it's not who I am. And I'm not going to do it. And I thank God for the parents that He gave me because they were always reminding me, not so much don't do it, but hey, stay true to who you are, right? Don't let yourself be so influenced by the world and, oh, quiero hacer esto, quiero probar esto. No. So to me, teaching my kids, aside from valuable things, right, how to work hard, how to, like Nancy said, you know, build a community, but it's teach them to have an identity of their own and not be involved, not be involved, they're involved in the world, but not be influenced easily by other people.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
The only thing you do that's trendy is the get ready with me thing.
You think that's
I'm
something
just messing with you.
I know, I was like, I do content,
People
trendy
love that
content,
kind
but
of
No, they
content.
do. I was just messing with
But
you.
other
'cause you said
trendy
you don't
stuff,
do
I
that.
feel like, you know, I mean, I'm not perfect in all that, but I've as much as I could just try to stay within my identity. You know, it's hard sometimes though, right? Especially, it's hard, but that's something that I would definitely want to pass on to my kids, to have that identity.
What about you, bro? You don't have any kids.
Yeah,
What would you
yeah,
instill
yeah.
in 12 different kids?
12 kids.
You have 12 kids?
He was.
I do, yes. I am
you
so
sure?
I'm so serious about it too.
You're so far
So-
too, bro. 0 to 12 is a long way.
You need to get started. Like,
ASAP.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
ASAP.
And the,
You need more money.
like, the reason I say that is because you can have like a full soccer team, 11, and then have one on the bench.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The
In case
coach.
one's, yeah, hell yeah, straight up. All right, anyway, so, no, honestly, like, I want 5 to 6 of my own and then foster or adopt the rest. If that's something that I've always wanted, and trust me, I'm working towards that in the sense of, like, for me to sustain that, like, I need to be there. So the way I would raise them, if it's a boy, I would teach them right off the bat that they, unfortunately, us men, we are born without value.
Yeah.
Right. You have to create your value. right? And those are the things that you teach your son to grow up and understand that they have to do certain things to create that. A girl is a little different, right? Princess treatment, all that, of course. You know what I'm saying? It's more in the loving phase. Obviously loving both, but it's a little different. The love is different, right? Where you protect your girl, right? Your daughter, and then your son, it's more of like, try it, find out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Try it, find out, and then tell me how you feel about that.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Yeah.
Go touch the hot stove.
Yeah, hell yeah. Go ahead. Go touch that shit. Let's see it.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you're going to listen to me next time.
Hell yeah, straight up. So it's more of a learning lesson with boys, and with daughters, it's like, I feel like it's more of a protection kind of deal, right?
Yeah, it's more protect on the women,
Yeah.
on the daughters, and then on the men.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder. But that's always a fine
You
line,
protect
I feel
both.
like.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
It's
you're
always a
little
fine
more-
line because I feel like you actually have the perfect world of the father. I mean, the boy and the girl. So how would you do it? How would you do it? How do you go about doing it?
So for me, the way I think about it is with Abel, my son, is always like, you got this. Like whatever it is that he wants to try, you got this, you got this, you got this. I think if you give them support, the other thing that I learned from another person that I really respect, he taught me that when you look at history, sons of really powerful men were usually trash.
Yep.
Because the father was so overbearing and the father was always commanding. So that son couldn't really form his own
Persona.
Perception
yes.
persona of how he wanted
He
it
was
to be.
always following the lead of the father.
Yep.
So that story stuck out with me. So I'm always like, I have that desire to like tell him what to do. And then I stop myself and I think when he asks me a question, I go back to him with like, what do you think we should do? What do you want to do? And I really trust him in like, he's a really good kid. I'm really blessed. And we are, since I got divorced, we don't live together. So like our time together is limited. So I'm very intentional about forming in him the confidence to make his own decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support him and I'm going to tell him what I think, but I'm always back to what do you want to do? So that way he can have his own drive.
Yeah, his own mind.
And that creates like a critical thinking skill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually one of the hardest things to do. As a parent is to instill that critical thinking, and if you could do it earlier, it's even better because, like you said, now you could take the training wheels off. And
I think it starts like by that, by you have this option too. And I think there's a lot of parents that I'll do this for you, and you don't put that thinking in them because you want to do everything for them, right? So I think that's a good one, giving them the opportunity to choose.
How do you feel like iPads, phones, all that has impacted like
horrible.
I didn't have that shit growing up. Yeah,
Horrible,
for sure.
yeah.
For me, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You want them to have it?
Oh, since he was 2, iPad. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
He's like, leave me alone.
No, it's
No,
not.
because
leave
he's
me alone.
adapting to how the world is moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
In 20 years, are we going to have more screens and technology or less?
Way more.
More. So-
Especially compared to what Elon said.
My son, he knows how to program. He knows how to create his own video games. He knows how to
Oh,
do
yeah.
things on the computer that I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
trying to get him to know all that stuff so then I can call him and be the old man being like, yo, fix
Hell
my
yeah.
computer.
But how many kids with iPads actually? That's great. I think that's amazing. But I think most parents, it's like what Roger said. Here, leave me alone. Here's iPad.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no
Yeah.
direction. We go
Exactly.
back to having no direction in what you're
See,
giving
now,
them.
it's like you said with the iPad. That's okay if you're directional
Yes,
with the
with
iPad.
growth,
Like, hey,
yeah.
there's no YouTube. There's nothing on here besides
hell
games of
Put-
ABC and
nah,
stuff.
put
Now
on
it's
put on
more
YouTube and
sense.
build his algorithm to nothing but motivational shit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's really easy for people to say, oh, I'm not going to give my kid that iPad.
Yeah.
Lies.
Yeah.
For sure.
When
Now
I
their
have
own
the kid-
iPad. Nah, but I'll see what I'll do is I'll give my son my phone.
No,
and
he'll mess up
whenever-
your phone.
The algorithm, yes, he be messing it up. But
Yeah.
I'll put him on the outside boys. The outside boys, they're just camping and stuff.
You know what I
So
used to
they're-
do when I was a kid?
He's
I used to play marbles in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's what
I
I'm
would
saying.
show up home with like stains on my shirt, like from school and all that. Little ice cream man, I would like chase him down and all that.
But
Like,
Ariel,
yeah,
we don't live in that
I
world.
understand
we
that.
don't. Yeah.
I understand that.
That's,
All right.
that's the trick.
Yeah, 100%.
that we want to almost like hold back to that old school stuff that you were talking about. But how is that going to help them in the future?
It's not. I see your point. And I understand, right? You can't hold that against them, especially when they go to school and they see all the other kids with like iPads and iPhones and all that.
already.
Like, of course, I get it. It's just.
But now, I agree with you as well. Every now and then you have to rough them up.
Yeah.
And like, I take Abel with me to the gym. I take him out to run. I make him do push-ups.
He's already seeing his dad do it, so in his mind, he's like, "Oh, these
I
are
gotta
some
do
of the
too.
things I
Cool,
know."
yeah.
And I make him do it. I'm like, okay, you have to do 10 push-ups. And he's like dying doing his push-ups.
Trying to do it.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
He's 10.
10?
Oh,
Okay.
double, yeah.
What would you recommend for? I mean, you have a background in technology, right? So, what would you recommend for parents that didn't go to school? They're letting the kids borrow the iPads and to grow like your kid, with them not having a technology background.
So first, what I would say is, think about it. The fact that the kid has the iPad is going to, by themselves, they're going to figure out how to make it work. So that alone is useful. Then the entertainment and the videos and all that, that's the part that is very tricky because it's hard to control. But they have YouTube Kids, and YouTube is really good with YouTube Kids. Every now and then you'll see a weird video, but 99% of the time, the YouTube Kids app is going to have really good content. You do that, and then you can go in, watch a video on how to limit the apps, and you can pick what apps are available for the iPad. So you pick a handful of games that are safe.
Educational, maybe.
Yeah. The YouTube Kids, so they can watch cartoons and stuff. Netflix with the kids' profile. It's not that complicated.
How many hours a day do you recommend a kid having technology?
Depending on the age, the time and the scheduling is going to take care of that by itself. That whole thing that the iPad is going to mess up their eyes, that's not true. How often do you work on your phone?
Oh yeah, very often.
How often
You don't think it actually messes up your eyes?
Not because when they're following their schedule, like they have to get up, they have to eat, they have to do this, they go to school, they come
Like
back.
they're not literally on an iPad like 24.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not leaving, breathing iPads.
Some kids are.
No, they
Yeah,
they are.
exactly,
I've
like
seen,
some kids
I've
are.
seen, yeah, like I've
But
seen
then
my
it falls
nephew.
back on the parents, you know?
Yeah, it does. I see my nephew. He's just on the couch, leaned over, looking at his phone.
Yeah.
Swiping and swiping.
There was
swiping,
actually
and
a
I'm just
video
like,
I
"Oh,
saw
so
where kids
bad."
were just out of it. Like their mental awareness was just not there anymore because they were so used to the scrolling. And so it's just a balance. I think everything in life is balance.
Yeah, that's too much. If you walk over and you see the kid, like, it's the same that if you were doing that, your mom
Right.
or your sister is going to be
They
like,
wake up.
yo, you need to, like, take a shower and, like, take a nap.
Yeah.
Go play outside. Go do something.
Yeah.
Like back then, we used to play outside all the time. No, I don't hardly see any kids playing outside.
Right? There's
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
outside
No.
anymore.
Oh, nobody plays outside.
Hey, but you see that in North Korea. North Korea got a whole system. I don't mean to shift over to North Korea, but shit, like they are very blocked outside of the world. I don't know if you guys like looked into
what are
that.
they- how are
There's a
they
lot of
over there?
fucking. There's a lot of countries that don't allow that kind of shit.
What social media?
Yeah,
Or
all
like
that, bro.
iPads,
iPads,
like,
all that, dude.
Makes
No,
sense.
they're fucking programmed to like. You know what I'm saying?
But those
It's a
are
different world.
terrible countries.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
I was
Yeah,
like
those are-
gonna
those
say,
are-
I was
I
like,
get it,
that's
but-
the comparison.
Those are bad countries, bro.
I ain't trying to say all that, but yeah, you see what I mean.
That's actually a bad one to look up. I just seen a whole thing where they had an island over there doing making coal back in I think it was in the 70s,
Yeah.
and they had everybody living on that island just because they were making coal. And all of them had nothing to do, and then they all started. It's a bad stain on Korea. I think
Yeah.
it was South Korea. And it's a bad stain on them, bro. It's so bad. It's so bad. For
I know, but South Korea is a very
It was,
free.
yeah, I was
I know,
gonna
but
say
it's
it
a
was
free
most
country, though.
likely north because South Korea is very like.
No, this is
liberal.
like back in the 70s. So back then it
yeah.
was a little bit worse.
Before they were
before they
liberated.
switched.
Yeah.
Before it switched and everything like that.
I guess you can kind of see it in two perspectives, right? A lot of people see it like tunnel vision, but I mean, you could look at different events in history and say, well, shit, what was that second perspective? Why was it that certain things played out the way they did, right? Like, have you ever looked into the documentary of like Hitler's actual fucking? I don't mean to get into that,
I was looking into a little,
but
bit
it's
the other day.
interesting, bro. Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just want to.
yeah, again, I don't mean to get into that.
YouTube and
I don't know how we shifted
were
into
talking
that.
about history, but like YouTube has everything you need when it comes to those things. I forget what I was looking up about that, and I was wondering what made Hitler not like Jews. And it was such a no, but for real, no. I was like, I asked the question. I was like, why does he not like Jews? And everything. I went into a whole little deep hole of like, why does he not like them? No, it is a rabbit hole. I was like,
ask Golden Neck. He knows everything about Hitler, which is crazy. But we've watched like 6 hours worth of information on why Hitler. Fuck. That's my brother, by the way.
But you just gotta just give yourself this education. Education on that is just big. All right, you guys networking over here and everything. All right,
they got bored with the whole
the whole Hitler thing, man.
Sorry, we never
but
start
real
working.
quick, actually, like we were saying, we get back to it real quick. Nancy, it's been like 6 months since you came on. We wanted to ask you, what has changed in these past 6 months from the last time to this time?
So much has changed and in a positive way.
So you're married and got a boyfriend?
No, but I mean that doesn't mean that my life hasn't
No,
changed
I
positively.
didn't. No, I'm not thinking it's negative. I'm just asking.
I mean, life has just been looking really good for me, so I'm very grateful for that.
So what happened before? Because I don't have the context of.
I was here, and it was we were like practically about to kill each other.
She had the shades on the whole time.
Even. I don't even think it was that bad. I don't know. I don't think it was that.
It wasn't that bad.
It was fine, but it was just definitely like. I came on the podcast not knowing that it was the relationship, like the open. I thought I was invited to I thought I was invited to the business one.
I mean,
it was so new.
If you're being messaged through open discussions, it's very different.
I didn't even know it was open discussion until a couple of days ago, and I was like,
and that happened.
It's a whole different discussion. I was thinking I was coming to the other one, the one that I came in how long ago, and it was educational. It was. Entrepreneurship.
And what was the point of like the argument? Yeah.
I think it was relationships and stuff like that. And
you don't remember like specifically what?
No, not really. But it was, we have a difference of opinion. Mm-hmm. They were calling me masculine and stuff. And
I didn't. No, we didn't call you masculine.
It's because I do feel like women, I think women making their own money is a positive thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like women should have options because not that there's anything wrong depending with the man. Like when I get married, I want to solely depend on my husband, but I also want to get my own money. Why? Because for me, one, I'm expensive and I've never been like someone telling me, no, you can't buy that. I'm not used to that. So
it doesn't make you masculine that you make your own money. I think when I'm home, you know how to be feminine.
In a way, it does.
In a way, it does. But to me, I think, ya que estás en la casa, like when it's home, like
you can be that.
You can be that feminine person. It's not always like on the hunt. I think as a woman, being in your feminine energy, you love that.
I think there's a feminine aspect to like women getting money too. It's just an attraction thing. I mean, I have a pink.
Go back. Say that again.
Like there can be like feminine aspects to receiving money. Like
it's not always masculine.
It's not always. It doesn't always have to be masculine. Money is attracted to just like not even people. It's just an energy. And when people realize that it's a tool and it comes to those effortlessly, like you don't even have to be masculine or feminine. It's gonna come to those that are open to receiving.
How does that work? Because I need some of that money to come my way.
I wish it was that simple.
I mean, I feel like when you don't focus on the money, it comes faster.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I don't know, because whenever I don't focus on it, I somehow get a lot like.
But what activity brought you that money that you feel that you didn't do anything and then it just came?
Not worrying about money.
I was about to say, not worrying about it is the reason why it even came, because you're thinking about when's the next paycheck. When's the next paycheck? That's why it's coming so slow.
You were not worrying about it, but the money was given to you by someone because of something
in exchange for a service. Like, I have a pink collar job, so like I provide services and that's how it's given to me. Or like, I'm trying to dabble into investments. That's also another way of money. Or like even like a social media presence. There are people that get paid to exist and just talk. Like like there's so many ways to make money nowadays that when people are like, I don't have any, I'm like, you ain't doing enough. Because like anybody,
options,
That's why I wanted to push back a little bit, because when you say like you just attracted, then that person could say, well, I shouldn't be doing.
I think what he was saying is like, what is it that you do? Because she's not just sitting at home like, hey, I'm just manifesting money come to my life. Like there's a lot of work that you put into it.
There's obviously work behind it, but it's not like work that I don't enjoy.
And it comes to sales. Because, for example, me in the insurance industry, if I'm just after a paycheck, get paid commission. If I'm just after that commission check, I scare people away. They sense that, hey, she just wants to get paid, $800.
Yeah.
But whenever you use your feminine traits of empathy, listening to their needs, connecting with them, you're not always going to close on the first.
What's
There
the
you
word
go.
you used earlier?
Sensual.
Sensual.
It's
there
not
it
always
is.
about
Sensuality.
closing
Very
on their money.
sensual.
No, she didn't say
Nah,
sensual.
yeah,
No,
no,
I'm
for sure.
saying,
but that's a
what
plus, though.
Yeah. What he's saying
I don't know
is-
about that, but
No,
it's using
100%.
feminine traits. That's all it is. Hey,
It's
what's your
essential,
need?
yeah.
Let me
And
connect
it
with
is
you.
so true because, like, in my business, I hear people talk. I empathize with them. I build relationships and
And the
connections.
closing comes like that once
But
you.
but it's the action that you're doing that brings the money.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
the only
you have to
thing,
work.
because to me, whenever I hear manifesting money, and I think it's a very feminine thing, and you hear it all the time,
Yeah, you hear that
and
on
I
social media.
I personally disagree with that a lot because it won't really help you. Like,
Okay, yeah, and I mean, I can see what your perspective. I disagree with it also.
Look,
but,
I think
like-
okay. Let me kind of say something a little bit right now, right? Because all right, look, when you see somebody who takes care of themselves well, you tend to trust them more, right? Because they're in tune with what they're
Perspective.
doing, right?
Perception.
So to your point, right? You said sensuality, no, but to an extent you are, because you take care of yourself. Both of you look like you take care of yourselves. You guys care about your appearance.
But sensuality, do you know the definition?
Absolutely.
Well,
It's
let's
you
look it up.
being.
Then tell me
Roger,
the
yeah,
definition
look,
because
okay, yeah, let's
I
pull
feel
this
like
Roger,
yeah,
please.
I think you're
Please.
trying to bring sensuality
what-
to them in a way that they're probably not comfortable with.
Oh no, I
having
understand that. I understand that. But what I'm
Even
saying
though
is, yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Even though it's a part of it, like
it is. Yeah.
you cannot separate that from human interaction.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you don't mean to,
yeah.
well,
it is gonna play.
possibly the proper term or the one like the term I would use is maybe like your level of attractiveness or your attractiveness versus your sensuality.
Wait, are we using or wait? I just want to correct.
Yes.
Make sure we're all using
Well-
the right word. We're not saying sexuality. We're saying sensuality.
Yeah, yeah.
Sensual.
I follow.
Sensuality.
I would
Yes.
disagree.
Not sexuality.
Yeah, not sexuality. Not
I would
sexuality.
disagree because you can be very attractive, but not sensual in a way, or not likable. So it
Like,
wouldn't.
not charismatic, yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
or you're just a
Charismatic, I think
bitch
that's
or
the-
Yeah,
whatever it is,
I feel like charismatic outweighs being attractive and sensual.
But
It
would you say you have a little more leverage and a little bit more of an edge if you are more attractive?
I
Yes.
mean, of course.
I think so.
Everybody knows that the better you look in life, the better your life or the easier it is to
that
just.
plays a part.
But I guess I'm just trying to follow where sensuality is coming into that.
I think
part.
charismatic is probably the word, and being attractive and good looking. It's more than just being attractive. It makes it seem this person takes care of themselves, and they most likely take care of business. And for example, what's this guy's name? And is it? He's big on social media.
Who?
His name what?
He's big on social media. He's all about
Andrew Tate.
No, not Andrew Tate.
Who?
No, boy. No.
What? Boy.
He
so
works
lame,
out a lot, and he's like, if you don't have a six pack,
Oh, you're
you
talking
can't work
about-
with me.
Oh,
Andy Elliott.
And
Yeah,
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 Okay, I
Elliot,
think that's
that's right.
way
Oh.
extreme.
Yeah.
But I get what he's trying to say, right?
Yeah, if you don't
He's
got a
way
six pack,
extreme.
I don't want you on my team.
Yeah, that's too extreme. But what he's
shit.
trying to say is take care of yourself, right? When you take care of yourself, you feel good. When you dress better, for example,
feel
for a
good.
girl, I wear
feel good.
makeup to that closing deal, and it just elevates your experience.
it's your confidence.
Instead of going in sweats with a bun.
I think what he's trying to get to is maybe it's more from the masculine perspective, because we cannot separate the sensual tone of a female. Even if she's not meaning to be sensual, we interpret all the signals.
Okay, I can see where that comes into
From a
play.
perspective.
Just
Because
the tone, it sounds a little bit like.
I feel like
Yeah, for
Evelyn
example,
and I are very nice.
the way your
Yeah.
legs are like that right now, and the way your hands are interlocked, that could be interpreted as a sensual move by a
100%.
guy, even if you're not aware.
Well, yeah, because I'm absolutely not. Yeah.
But it's your subconscious, really.
Yeah.
Like that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I actually had a question for you. Another question from left field. All my questions are from left field.
Yeah.
Ariel, if you got one,
No
you can
one's
hop in.
asking anything on the chat. Come
Well,
on,
they're
y'all.
actually they're just saying
Pull
stuff.
through
and
chat.
that's-
Pull through chat.
It's
Golden Neck.
Yeah, Golden Wreck is
Golden
going
Neck.
having his type of
Yeah.
day.
He's been a
today.
faithful follower. Y'all need to see.
No, hey, so this question is actually for you. How do you feel about the Luigi Manioli situation with him killing that guy in New York and all the other stuff with insurance? How do you feel about that
Are you aware of
situation?
it?
Are you aware of
Oh,
it?
yeah. Okay. Oh, that's
Because you're in insurance,
I'm in
and how do you feel
insurance.
about that? And I feel, I mean, I'm a person of the public. I feel with him, like if you
you knew something was going on,
yeah,
yeah.
like man, why would you not try to fix it? Even The Incredibles used a snippet of real life and put it inside of a kid's movie. Whenever he was talking to his boss and he was like, hey, she's sick and she doesn't even need this. Why are we prescribing this? He was like, no, don't tell the client anything that's going to help her. That is against your policy. Don't do
Yeah.
that. If you do that, you're going to get fired. And literally all he had to do was he was telling her, don't take this no more and you're going to be fine. And he was like, no, don't tell her nothing. And it was literally the scam inside of insurances. And that's literally why that guy ended up
that
dying.
happens a lot. And I think being working in the insurance field, it's not an easy field because a lot of people have a bad perspective on it, right? Oh, me specifically, life insurance. Oh, my cousin had life insurance and she never got a check when, you know, her spouse passed away. You hear that a lot in insurance. So the way that I've been working with my community and using my social media, and y'all have seen it, you know, hey, this is a policy from this company. Let's read it together. This says this. I've read policies from work. I've read policies from State Farm, Allstate. Oh, shit. Y'all blocked this out. The names. But I've read policies from other companies, right? Because I'm very down, like, to, hey, what are you signing? Make sure you know what you're signing. But I think, honestly, in the insurance field, that's like 5% of agents do that. The 95 is,
They want
I'm
that
after a
money.
commission.
The money.
They make you sign, and you never hear from them again.
So
They're
question,
gone.
whose side
So-
are you on? Are you on the company side of that guy dying or the people's side?
The people, like, if they didn't get paid, are you trying to, or what do you mean?
Well, no.
The
So
people's side.
basically, he had a condition going on or something like that. And
I'm against the agent. I go for the agent because the company says, hey, here's a contract, and gives it to the agent, the field, the field agent.
But he's the CEO. The CEO of the company
company's
died.
not gonna, the company doesn't care if you read it or not. They're like, hey, we wrote the contract. It's on the agent, the person that has contact with the family of read the policy, right? And agents don't do that. And me working with Latino community, muchos no leen, right? Because most of these papers are in English. So I think it's the agent's responsibility to be like, I'm working with the Latino community. They don't speak English. Let me interpret. You can get the policies in Spanish, right? And you can help read over the policies. But going back to your question, it makes me very angry that there are some companies that don't pay out. They're very careless about training their agents, and they're very careless about helping the community, and they're all about a paycheck and getting people's money.
Yeah, I feel like
but
insurance is
you
a
find
scam.
those agents in there that actually care and that actually say, hey, I really want to help you, because I know insurance, you look at the contract and it's so confusing. Numbers and letters, but that's the agent's job to be like, let me help you interpret this to the best that you can before you sign and before you pay me. So I'm big on educating the community.
So
I'm
in your
huge
opinion,
on that.
insurance is not a scam.
It's not. Insurance, it's, well, at least where I work at. It's not, okay, what's a scam to you?
It's a scam. Like
No, what is this word scam?
I will
mean?
explain in the insurance terms how to me it's a scam.
Okay.
To me, it's a scam when like you said, the client does not know any better because they're not in insurance. So yes, I would need you to explain to me everything that I need to know as to why I cannot get approved for this thing on my insurance, on my health benefit side that you guys should be paying for, or whatever the case is. And why is it? Because you guys want to keep that money for yourselves instead of giving it to the people that actually need it. But y'all don't want to do that because if I don't fill in this specific line on that contract,
Yeah,
it's not
it's a
even the
contract.
contract. If I don't fill in this specific line on my application, you're going to say, well, we're not going to give them that money
Exactly,
that
yeah.
they
But
need
it
for
falls
their
on the
medication and
agents.
etc.
It falls on the.
I
I
feel
train
like
my
that goes
Latino
back to the
community.
CEO.
I agree because you can present a proposal or an agreement, and even going back to sales, like as a salesperson, like you have to communicate those things. And if you leave certain things out, and
It's on you.
Yeah,
Like, why do
100%.
you?
But
communicate
that
these
goes.
things?
So the CEO ended up dying because he's the one that makes the policies
Yeah.
of the whole company. He's
Well,
the
he
CEO.
runs the company.
Yeah, he runs it, but,
But
he
he probably
can
did
push and not push things
It
through.
depends on the company.
it depends, yeah, because
Yeah.
they have people under them to like
Now,
make these
question.
decisions. Yeah.
Is the agent working for the company, for the client, or for themselves?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a
Oh,
good
that's a
question.
very good
That's a
question.
3-part question.
I want to say it's in different parts. Me at least working for the clients. Why? How do I know I'm working for the clients? Because I am going out of my way. I don't have to go and read a contract, right? But I'm going out of my way. I don't care if I have to drive 2 hours to meet you, but I got to make sure you understand this.
But legally, does the agent has a fiduciary like duty to that client or not?
No, honestly, and that's why so many agents don't read these contracts.
'Cause
Because they're
they're
like,
more on the
they're not
company
obligated.
side.
You know,
They're more
they
on the
get
company
lazy.
side.
Yeah, they work for the company. They have a contract with the company. The company pays them as soon as they submit a policy. So whether they read the policy or not, that's on the agent. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard. At least the team that I'm training, I'm teaching them how to go way beyond for the client and say, hey, if you have to drive to meet them, make sure they understand what they're paying for.
But legally, the agent is representing the company.
Yes.
And they are not contractually bound to protect the client. They're just there presenting, here's the pizza. You either eat the pizza or not.
Exactly. Yeah. So if there's anything that goes wrong, the client would have to go strictly to the company. Yeah.
You know what you should do?
That's I think why
Yeah,
the
that
whole
happened.
idea of like this being a scam comes about. Because me as the client, if I need to get a law degree to understand this thing, and then the agent, they could explain it.
And that's why it's a hard field. It's a hard field because you have to find those people that are actually hungry to help the community, right? And I've had so many cases where I hear families, my family member didn't get paid. What I do is whenever I go with the family, I always ask for emergency contacts. You know, aside from you, I need 3 people that you know, so I can tell them, hey, she's insured with me. If she was to pass away, I need y'all to contact me. I always keep up with the families.
Okay, I like that.
But I need and people that are not the beneficiary, so they have no interest in receiving a check. This is just people that you know. They're your emergency contacts. They can reach out to me. Let me know that you passed away. The problem is that many companies don't do that. So what happens? The client passes away, and the company has no idea the client has been dead for 10 years. So they never send out a check. I actually had a friend, and her mom passed away. She never knew her mom had life insurance. Her mom never told them,
Oh, wow.
I had life insurance with this company. Until years later, they found a document that she had been paying life insurance. So it's on the agent to educate your client. You need to tell family members.
So how often do they have, how much time period after they die can you come and claim that money?
It depends on the company. It really depends on the company.
What? So you're telling me
So-
even after 10 years, they still can't even pay out their money to somebody they didn't know?
Depends on that contract,
It
right?
depends on the
Oh, it's so
contract.
bad.
Yeah.
See, I was about to say,
That's
and it
why you
depends-
always got to keep up with
Yeah.
clients. I have a list, and I'm keeping up with my clients. What has changed? Maybe they went through a divorce, they had babies, they passed away. So it's a lot of work on the agent side to educate. It's not just like going back to social media. There's a lot of life insurance agents saying, "Come and make $1,000 today." And that's all. That's all the shine that
Pyramid
they give.
scheme.
No, it comes with a lot of educating, studying policies, reaching out to clients and saying, hey, I'm here to help you as much as I can. But I'm a big believer of to overcome objections, you have to, before objections come in, overcome them, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So yeah, it's a lot.
I feel
But
like it depends on the company, right? Because every company is different. There's some companies where like you're tailored to be just commission based. Then there's some companies that also apply the salary plus commission. So it just really depends. I see where she's coming from.
Real quick.
Yeah, I'm like over here reading the comments.
What's going on
It
here?
says sensually deeply connected to your senses.
Yes.
That's kind of what we're talking about. Not sexuality, but
I think I heard it
sensuality.
incorrectly.
That's why I said the N and the X kind of sound
Yeah.
very similar. So I didn't want to make it.
And
think of
Manuel said
sexuality.
health insurance is a scam.
So much fine print. Car and home insurance makes sense. People want insurance companies to pay for their $50K car for $100 a month. Come on. Do you need life insurance? Is anybody dependent on the income to live
Your
if you
kids.
died tomorrow? If not, then why even buy life insurance? You wouldn't. If yes, then buy a term life insurance. I would say that the way to fix that issue of what we just brought up and that happened with the guy, the CEO in New York, is to have a third party company, side company, independent company, somebody like yourself that already knows insurance in and out. You create a new company that comes in and that literally strictly is for the client, where it's like, hey, you need to fill out these different fields to get the insurance you need, and if you don't, they're going to screw you. You should come in, and I'm not saying you specifically, but there needs to be somebody like you that knows insurance well, where you're actually there for the client.
And
Saying,
that's
hey,
what I
if you
do
don't
for
fill
my
in these
clients.
fields,
That's
the
what I
insurance
do.
is going to screw you in the end. So you need to fill this specific field in, because that's the reason why you're not going to get approved for your, chemotherapy or whatever the
But
case is.
that's more on the wealth management side of things and the financial advisors, because they do have like a fiduciary duty to the client.
Yeah.
And
I think health is different. I mean, I'm not in the health field, but I know health has a lot of, things, because there's so many disease and illnesses that you could go through when it comes to health. Life insurance is simple. You die, here's your money. You don't die, you're paying for life insurance. Like, it's a lot more simple. But going back to what you were saying, that's what I do for my clients. You know, am I technically supposed to do that? No. But I know I'm one of the few agents that I will go way out of my way to make sure you get paid. I've had clients that passed away and I've delivered checks. So I know that I'm going to pay out to 100% of my clients.
Yeah, 2 hours is. Ooh, you really do care about your clients.
Yeah, I mean, but it comes back to what we were saying, connecting with the client. I don't do it just to get on their good side. I do it because I know that's building trust. And I know they can trust me as their agent and be like, hey, she's got me. Like, if anything, you know, they know the way that I work, they know my values, and they know I'm not always after a paycheck. I can meet with the family and they have life insurance already. I'm not always going to, oh, come with me. You should come with me. Hey, you're good where you're at, you know? And people build trust on that. You know, I'm not always.
And then you also have to have personal responsibility and understand, hey, this is complicated, but you have to learn it.
Yeah, you can't be.
No, 100%. Because I would
have to learn it.
No, I would assume that you sometimes like deal with certain families that like absolutely like, you know, you can tell them something, they're like, yeah, let me sign right away. That's cool. But like, do they really know what they're getting into?
And that goes with everything. Like, you're getting a loan through a bank. Read.
100%. The fine print.
Oh, I don't know English. Okay, find someone that, you know, that goes with everything. You go to the hospital, to the emergency room, and they're making you sign something, read. So I'm a big on get educated. And if you don't, I always tell my clients, if you need me for anything to read, even if it's not insurance, I got you. Let me help you. Because there's a lot of companies taking advantage of Latino people, I'm going to say because I'm Latina, que no saben inglés, and they're like, oh, they're just going to sign. Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, Evelyn, can you read me this book?
Not a book.
Nancy, what about your industry, right? Because you have your own like business going on too. Do you like do a lot of like beforehand, like understand that this may happen, you know, be aware of this? Like, how do you go about that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Dealing with people's skin is already a really touchy subject because if you mess somebody's skin up, that's never a good thing. No. I mean, for me, I mostly deal with like acne clients and age management. So my clientele, it really varies from anyone that's 16 to anyone that's 80. And going back to what, like, I resonate with what Evelyn said about building trust, because they can go to anyone to go get a facial. Why do they choose me? It's because I also take the time in their consultation. Like, okay, let's look at your products. This is what's probably causing this and that. What supplements are you taking? Well, this causes this. It's and I think in any field that you're in, it's so important to be educated so that you can, you know, give that education to your client. Yeah. And they're just going to trust you more knowing that you're the professional.
Yeah, of course.
You talk about like food and diet with them as well?
Of course, because that does play in a big part. I'm not like a certified dietitian. I actually have considered like getting kind of certification in that and like being able to do like a little bit of phlebotomy to take like, you know, to see where it all falls in. Yeah. So
that's even better. That's deeper.
I would be able to charge more.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could charge even more because you're really taking a deep dive.
Nancy, how do I get glass skin or with over the counter?
Yeah,
products?
I was about to ask. Like,
there you go. Yeah. How do
for guys?
Is the Ordinary cool?
It's not my favorite brand.
It's the concha. That's right. Hell yeah. No, straight up. That goes back to the 60s.
I mean, it's not my preferred line. You get what you pay for, right?
Okay.
It's not like with the lines that I work with, they don't. So everything you find inside of Ulta and everything, they focus a lot on marketing. Yeah. The lines that I work for, they're actually like focused on research. They don't have to market. They have us as the estheticians use it, see results. And
what brand do you use most?
I actually carry Circadia, Face Reality, a really fancy one from Japan called Epicutis.
Where'd I find that?
Japan. You can, with me? No, I'm like, you can shop online at Cosmic Beauty. We're working on our store. Yeah, we're working on our store for online store. I mean, I even have like a picture that I recently did with the client. I don't know if I can show it.
Yeah, you can.
I'll
show you right here.
Okay, hold on, because I don't want you scrolling through my phone.
Oh, I'm not.
Let me.
Do I go up there?
I'll just. Okay, go ahead if you want to.
Right there, the one.
Right here in the middle, yeah.
That was hilarious.
Let me walk you through my process, and you tell me if I'm doing it right.
This one?
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Which one?
David.
She's on mine. Yeah, she's on
David,
mine.
there you go.
Oh yeah, pull that back.
There you go.
Okay, this is what okay.
Oh shit, what is that?
Talk bad.
No. Yeah.
This is her like when we first started.
Okay.
This is her a couple like hold on. A few treatments in.
Oh, okay, yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
And
straight up.
This is her today before her wedding because She wanted to, like, she started with me so that we can get her prepared for her wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
That's good.
Yeah.
Is that just like something that's not gonna go away? The other one, that big one?
That's a mole.
Oh, that's
Oh
a
yeah,
mole.
yeah.
Okay.
But you
It's
can
a
get it
mole.
surgically removed. Look, all right. Let me walk you through my step-by-step process, and you tell me if it's right or not. Okay.
Probably
I
So-
already don't like
Probably
when I heard
not,
the
yeah.
Hold on,
ordinary.
no. Hold on. So in the morning, the first thing I do, fill up a bowl of ice water. I dump my face 3 times, 15 seconds each session. After
Is
the
that good
fact,
or bad? Wait.
yeah, is that
I don't have a problem with cold therapy.
for
If you-
inflammation?
If you feel like it's working for you, continue it.
Okay. Then a glass of Himalayan salt with water, right? Mm-hmm. Drink it, right?
Okay, so what is that? Like tying into your skincare? What, or is it
I don't
just
know. I
like
saw it on a
health-
YouTube video.
Yeah,
Hear me
yeah.
out. All right. So then I go into scrubbing my face, right?
With what?
Exfoliator and
What
a-
exfoliator? From what brand?
Everything matters. So everything
shit,
like
what
that
is it?
matters.
Neutrogena. That's right. That's the one I got. So okay, Neutrogena. Hold on, hear me out. Hold up. Then I apply the hyaluronic acid from the Ordinary.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I do the vitamin C and E from Sephora, and then I do hyaluronic acid, and then I apply the moisturizer, and then I lock it in with sunscreen.
For the morning, that sounds fine. Do I love
Cool.
the products you're using? No. But if you feel like it's working for you, I'm not the kind of
I don't know,
person
man.
that's
Is it?
like,
Shit.
oh, you need to spend this much in order for your skincare to work. If it's working for you, you like it, I'm totally fine. Are there better skincare like options out there? Of course.
Yeah.
And when you're ready to level up, let me know.
All right, okay, here, real quick. Can you give me, for the average person, generalized statement, can you give what's the best basic skincare routine for your face in the morning?
The most basic routine that can be beneficial to anybody
Yeah,
for the
anybody.
morning, it's always going to be cleanser, moisturize, SPF. That
So,
can
yeah,
be
those
like your
three in
most
that
base
order.
as
Like
long
that
as
order.
yeah, that can be. I mean, if you want to get fancy with it and invest in your serums because you want to see maybe a reduction in hyperpigmentation, all those things, then you're gonna start to add that in, and your skin's gonna react to
Yeah,
that. very well.
retinoid at night.
Toner, morning and night? Or?
Toner, I actually don't believe in toners. I'm more of a mist person. Toners can cause some of them have drying drying
Yeah.
agents inside of them, and some people don't need toners. It's so different because everybody's skin is so unique. Not everybody's gonna need toners. Some people will need toners, but I'm more to the philosophy of rehydrating the skin.
What is a toner?
It's just kind of like an additional, like it's kind of like a stripping agent. You just clean off the dirt, or you can rebalance the face. It kind of depends on the brand, but it's not necessary for everybody.
So, would you recommend you not wake up and leave your face like plain? Like,
What do you- like-
recommend
No,
putting
when you go-
something on your face?
When you go
throughout
in the
In the
sun,
morning?
it's
no,
bad.
every day. Like, do you recommend putting something on your face?
Well, at
Like
least
every
at
day, I
least
literally just like put water, wash it, and that's it. I
At
don't
least-
put like anything else on it, and I just go on.
No, you need to put some on.
I mean,
see, that's what I'm
Sunscreen
saying.
at
you-
least put sunscreen
Yeah,
on. Come
sunscreen.
on.
Oh, okay, so sunscreen. I don't even own sunscreen.
I love how everybody. I love how everybody's
Hell
loving
yeah,
the
no, I'm
skincare.
trying to get glass skin, dog.
Nancy, schedule an
I need
appointment
vitamin
with
D.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of deal? What kind of deals open discussions getting?
$25 off. You said.
$25 off your
Hell
new
yeah,
client
word.
first time facial. It's normally $175. So
Hey, use
Yeah.
everyone in the chat. Use promo code Open Discussions. It's gonna have $25
yeah,
off.
just put it in the notes. You'll get it. You'll get it applied.
Hey, shout out Melinda.
No, so okay. So pimple
SPF for
patches, do
sure.
they work or do they not work?
They don't work.
They
what?
don't work. I
Pimple
feel like they
patches?
do work.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like they do.
No,
Hell
work.
yeah.
They don't work.
That
It's-
pimple is like 2 weeks old. Of course, it's not gonna work.
It doesn't work. What it does is it's going to like if when you put a pimple patch on top of a pimple, what happens when you put something over anything?
You can't
It's
breathe.
just to cover.
Exactly, and it
can't
just
breathe.
covers up.
Yeah.
And so obviously, naturally, that thing has a sticker. Obviously, it's gonna pull it off.
Now you put
What-
a little peanut butter on it.
No,
Well,
so there's no benefit. And once you have it on, you keep putting it. You're like avoiding touching it and messing with it. So that's maybe why you feel like they work for you.
I feel like I thought pimple patches you put on, and then
He comes in.
It allows the pimple.
He's
to
came
go
in with
down.
stars and shit on his
Yeah,
face.
no, not the stars. But
Yeah,
the
yeah,
clear
no, the
ones.
stars, yeah.
But they, I thought it was to allow the pimple to go back down and it just goes
You
away.
can put an actual spot treatment that has like an actual like ointment on it that will help that. Not necessarily a sticker's not really going to do anything. It's great marketing and it's perfect for
golden
like
star,
people
right?
that like don't want to show off their little pimple.
Big old star, you know?
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's
those-
worse
yeah, I
because
just
then
get the
you
clear
see a
ones.
thing on their
Exactly.
face.
Thank you.
Yeah, I get the clear ones.
Yeah.
I've done
yeah.
it like 2 or 3 times.
I mean,
so.
and back to your question,
Stop
what's
doing it.
like a good night routine? A good night routine would be also obviously cleanser,
Yes.
moisturize, and if you
Hyaluronic
are
acid.
over the age of 25, please incorporate retinol.
Yes.
Yeah, a
Retinol?
sort of
There you
retinol.
go. Yep. The Ordinary.
So I need to. I
Not
need
the
to take
ordinary,
notes.
please.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the
It's
ordinary.
got good reviews.
Of course it does. It's on Sephora, and people sometimes get paid for that.
Hey, real quick before we
true,
wrap
damn.
up, I know we asked
No,
this.
hold on. Before we move on, hold on. Now, Axel, what about you? Because you're in movie production, right? What kind of regulations do you go over with a client before you actually like present the idea of like, look, let's work with us? What is it that you go over as far as like, understand this, understand that? This is where you're gonna get. What is it you go over?
When you're working on the corporate side of things, it's pretty straightforward. We have like a boilerplate agreement.
Yeah.
And it's basically deliverables, the budget, kind of the revision process, how many revisions they get on the final product and that kind of thing, and then usage rights. For me, I like to work in a way that I'm super open that if you hire me to do something, I'm going to give you full rights. You own all the footage, you own everything, and you get to do whatever you want to do with it, even if it's not with me. Because I think people that work in media, everyone is so concerned about contracts and this and that. That's just making it harder for a company to hire you.
Yeah.
Now, when you get into the film and TV and distribution side of things, there's a lot more regulations because distributors have specific contracts they're putting in place or that they want to have just to protect themselves from a lawsuit in the future.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're filming a movie, you need to get location clearance forms, and you need talent forms, and you need something else that is called chain of title documents that proves that the script, the story rights belong to the person that is doing the contract to distribute the film.
Okay. Yeah.
So for example, let's say she wrote the script. You are the producer. You bought the script from her. She registered the script with the Library of Congress and with the Writers Guild. And then she's transferring that via contract to you as the producer. Then you come to me as the distributor and you grant me distribution licenses for me to go and put it out with Netflix. And so you need all of those documents. On that side, things are very tricky. And you also have a bunch of companies ripping people off, doing deals that are really bad for the filmmakers, for the actors. And that's why the strike went down in the last few years.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Like Hollywood has been going downhill in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like production is down like 50% in Hollywood. About 70% of people are not working that used to be working a couple of years ago. So it has gotten really complicated because you have these companies, for example, Netflix is doing a lot of volume in the stock market because people are investing in the value of the brand and how many subscribers they have.
I think that was my question too. My next question is like, how do you get to the point where you pitch an idea to, let's say, Netflix or HBO or something to say, look, I want to produce this movie or I want to direct this movie? What are the steps to get there?
So, for example, my last feature film, Literary Inc., we finished the movie and I self-produced it. Then I had a sales agent that took it to Netflix. And it was a finished product. And then you come to Netflix and you say, hey, we have this. Do you want to pick it up?
Yeah.
So they could do two things. They could sign an agreement for a term, which is usually 2 to 3 years. Or they could say, I want to turn it into a Netflix original.
Do they
Oh,
just pay
okay,
the rights?
So they
okay.
would
Yeah,
just
yeah,
buy
yeah.
it out.
Then
Yeah.
they buy it outright and they own it forever.
Oh, okay.
Or they license it for 2 years and they give you a contract and
Yeah.
they pay you quarterly. They send you a check
Nice.
for those
Oh,
2
that's
years.
cool. And that's based off of like streaming.
No,
No,
they just
what is
say they have data in the back to say, okay, this documentary about tattoo artists, there's about this many tattoo lovers
Yeah.
Subscribers
that
maybe.
watch that kind of content, or we have 10 tattoo documentaries that we already license and we know that they got
This is what they're pulling.
they're pulling
So-
that data
yeah.
to determine do they even
What the
need to
value
have that
is.
on the
The value,
platform, and how much money do they want to pay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's when you have the finished product, you go through an agent and you bring it to them. The other way is to do it in development, where you pitch the idea to them in development. You also have to go through an agent, or if you're a company that you have been working with them in the past for something, they have their partners and they're usually really close knit. That's why your friendships and relationships, at the end of the day, it comes down to that.
Yeah, of course.
So Netflix is a company, but it's made of people. And those
Politics.
people, you have development execs, and they have friends, and they know people, and they say, oh, we want to do a reality show about Latin life insurance business in Dallas within that school. And you're like, yeah, I know you from that podcast. Let's do it. Here's 200 grand. You guys go shoot a pilot, and then let's see how, like, if we
How
like
it
the
comes out,
pilot.
mhm.
And if they love the pilot, they could pick up a whole season. Now,
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
now, all of that has changed a little bit because they already plan everything ahead and they have data, and you already have big players that they sign 5-year term contracts with. So, for example, the lady who did Grey's Anatomy, Shonda Rhimes, she signed a massive deal with Netflix, and that's why you saw, like, I think they had Scandal, and they had Bridgerton, and they had, like, all these shows that were already slated. So Netflix went in and spent, like, literally billions of dollars to say, we're going to get, like, the top 10, 15, like, names of people that make TV and film, and we're going to do a long-term deal. Like, Adam Sandler did, like, a 5-movie deal with them.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So it's a lot of money there.
So is that why like certain shows or movies are being like cycled with like what you mentioned? It's like a 2-year deal, so it'll stay on Netflix for 2 years, and then it'll be cycled to something else.
Yes. Then the rights
okay.
go back to...
Damn, okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rights go back to the producer,
Okay.
and then you can put them on Apple TV or Amazon Prime.
Oh,
or
I see. I see.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, that's
for you.
fire.
Kind of go with that before
Yeah.
we get into this other one. Have you heard of For the Love of Drewski?
Oh yeah. Hell
So
yeah, on
that's
YouTube.
kinda
Yeah.
that same scenario
Yeah.
where he went on YouTube, created a whole like you're saying, like a whole reality thing. There's like 10 plus episodes, whatever
Yeah.
it is. They're only on episode 5, but he decided to release it on YouTube, I guess, to have more of the creative rights. But if he would have did that on Netflix, do you feel as if it would have did the same numbers maybe, or do you think it's just a lot more accessible on YouTube? So he said, let me shoot for YouTube instead of maybe going for a Netflix deal where I can maybe profit 20 million, 10 million or something like that, get a deal in. What do you think would have been better?
I don't know who the person is, so it depends on who the
Pull,
person
hey,
is.
Roger, pull up Drewski.
Working on
Yeah.
Yeah, the Love of Drewski or whatever.
Pull up Drewski. You've
Yeah,
seen him. You've seen
Could have
him.
been love.
You've seen him.
It's could
Yeah.
have been love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Could Have Been Love.
It-
Basically, he's just doing a reality show. It's really, honestly, not even real. You can tell it's really just funny.
Because he gets a
It's-
lot of influence.
Yeah, he gets a lot of
That's why-
influencers
that's
that
why,
are
like-
popping. See, look right here. So it's like a whole hour long. Could Have Been Love. He's got 3 million subscribers. Do you think it would be beneficial for
Well,
him
just
to...
looking at the picture, that's not Netflix material.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
be
what I'm
Netflix material.
Yeah, it wouldn't make it into Netflix.
What-
Why do
see
you
it on that show.
why do you feel like a lot
It
of
is good because it's just funny. It's just
why do you feel like a
controversial.
lot of events, like big sporting events, especially like boxing, for example, boxing is moving into Netflix a lot, and then you have like NFL, you have.
I don't want to ruin it for
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
I haven't even watched it.
Yeah,
I
so
think
yeah.
I just ruined it for myself.
Yeah.
I watched probably the first episode. It's funny. It's
Yeah,
funny.
the first one was
It
funny. I
No,
haven't
no,
watched
no,
that.
no,
Yeah.
they're on the season finale.
Yeah,
Oh, already? What
Alright.
episode was that?
This is number 5.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
only have 5 episodes. Okay, I thought it was 10.
So okay, that makes a lot of sense as to why they cycle so many movies and
Different
shows
ones
back
stuff
and
like
forth.
that.
Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
makes a lot of sense.
I always wondered. I'm like,
All right, so Nancy, I just wanted to get into you real quick. I know we asked this question, but what's been the biggest impact since the last time you came on till now? Just for you in your personal life or just life in general?
I guess my relationship with God has straightened more.
okay, yeah, hell
Well,
yeah.
how was it straightened more, like from then to now?
I think because then I was still working a part-time job and running my business. And like 6 months ago, or no, actually pretty recent, like December, I just went all in. And of course, I was scared just like everybody else. It's scary, especially like I have a storefront, I have overhead to pay for, I have material supplies, a lot of stuff. So I really you know, when other people open their storefronts, like, I understand, like, it's a lot on your plate, and so it's scary. Like, you know, I was like I actually spoke to Evelyn. I was like, your sort of business is great because you don't have overhead, and like it's a wonderful model because you get paid and you get to keep most of your profits. The profits I make, people think like this is a get rich type of thing. It's really not, because I'm like paying so much for just to have like a building and stuff. And I'm in Dallas, so I'm already in a really expensive area. Yeah. So, but I mean, you know, it's a blessing that I'm like left it all to God, and I've been passionate about. I've been like left it all to God, because I was like, dude, if this is what you want me to do, like
that's the plan. Like, he shaped the pathway.
It's what you wanted to do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's what I want to do, but you know, even there's so many things that I wanted to do in life, and they just didn't work out.
Yeah.
That's entrepreneurship. That's literally the definition of entrepreneurship.
100%.
Nothing's always. I mean, there's so many things are not going to stick. You just got to find the one that sticks, and the one that usually sticks is the one you're most passionate about.
100%.
Love the most.
Let me kind of wrap this one up and say, all right, let me ask all three of you, our guests, what is the next?
Can I show the?
Yeah, hell yeah, of course. Go ahead.
All right, y'all. Is it this one, Roger?
Back it up a little bit.
What is that?
It's my booking site, so I did an open discussion facial right there, so you can see.
Oh, hell yeah. Hold on.
Up a little bit. Right there.
So
open
there you
discussion
go.
facial.
Yeah, so
That's lit.
it is a limited
Hey,
time
that's
offer
cool.
for those for the listeners, so take advantage of it while it's up.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
Cool.
I did that while you're talking. Sorry, I was totally listening, but I was like,
No, that's cool. I love that.
That we should change the title.
Roger, change the title to. All right.
Change the
Hey, look,
title of the channel.
before we wrap this one up, let's go around the room. All three of you, our guests, what's the next big step for both of you, or for all three of you in 2025? What is it that you're trying to accomplish in this year?
This year. Ooh, that's a good question.
We'll start with Nancy.
Can I go last? I don't know.
Evelyn, let's start with you.
So for me, it involves a lot of personal development, but it's definitely my bad.
You're good.
A lot of personal development, definitely career-wise, is hang around the right circle that's going to level me up, so I can own an office that doesn't just specifically target life insurance, but branch out to other services that the community is needing.
Like whether it's clothes, food, stuff like that, or like what?
No, just like, for example, now that I've been, targeting the Latino community, they need more than life insurance, right?
Absolutely.
And that's including investments, notary services. That's including, legal paperwork and other stuff. So just having an office where people can come to.
That would be incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like you migrate to America, come talk to you because you'll set them up. Anything you need.
Hell yeah, straight up.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
cool.
I think
just
I love
All-in-one
it.
service.
A one-stop
that.
shop.
That's
a
awesome.
one-stop shop.
I did see you were talking.
yeah.
You like posted a video with these two immigration lawyers.
Yeah, so one of them is a realtor and another lady helps with the paperwork.
That's fire.
And I think just networking with people in the area where we can target bigger communities.
Yeah.
We help all across the United States. It's not just a Dallas thing.
Yeah.
We are licensed to help people all across the states, but I think just having an office here that
Like your
definitely-
HQ.
Maybe you should start a nonprofit and all y'all should be part of an organization where people can just donate and y'all can use that money.
I was
to
gonna
help
tell
these
you,
other
if you
families.
do go the nonprofit route, I have experience in nonprofits, so
That'd be fire. Because now when you say it's a nonprofit, immigrants feel more entitled to want to actually go to you because they're like, oh, they're not really trying to make money off of us. They're really trying to help us out. Because now when you put money behind it, like, oh, we're taking 3%, 20%, you're like, I'm a little skeptical to want to work with you because I already know you're trying to make money from me. But if I know it's a nonprofit, I'm more willing to, I'll let you help me figure all this out in America.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely a one-stop shop for the community.
That's good.
All right, what about you?
Nice,
Austin?
very nice. Go ahead.
For me, I want to entertain people, inspire them to do great things, and do that with the content that I do, with the stories, the films that I'm working on. So I'm working on a few scripts for a TV series and for a feature film to go into production later this year. And I just want to have a lot of fun doing that and getting people something that they can be excited about and make a lot of money while doing it.
Hell yeah.
That's cool.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
are you in the position to, like, if somebody wanted to be an actor, you could say, hey, I like how you are. Could you maybe try this role for me? You would be in that position?
Yes, but it all comes down to the story. So it's not so much about the actor. Unless you're famous, it doesn't work like that. So if you're a famous actor, then I could say, okay, let me figure out what can I write and produce that fits you.
Oh, okay.
Because I can use you to
I remember you
sell
telling me
the
about this.
film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got you.
Okay, so real quick, I wanna get your perspective on David's acting skills.
Oh, bro.
Oh,
no, let's
shit.
not pull this.
Oh,
up, bro.
yeah,
Hey,
nah,
again,
hell
if
yeah,
I
let's do
would've
that.
known better, I would have
Nah,
done
let's
better,
do that,
bro.
let's do that, let's do
Chill.
that.
I would have done way better on this.
Hell yeah.
Acting or dancing?
Acting.
Nah, it's acting, but it ain't acting, man.
Is that what he was asking?
Yeah.
I wasn't acting.
What
That
were
was
you
not good
doing on
acting.
there?
I was helping out some of these wrestler ladies, and I just was not selling it so good. But
Nah,
I couldn't
hell
see.
no, I like
wasn't-
that,
I couldn't
yeah.
see. If you hit me from
No,
the
it's
back,
just
I
cool.
can't say you hitting me from the back and I feel
Oh,
it.
is that
It's
you?
completely harder. Yeah, but it's completely different. I mean, I've never done like
Can you
wrestling.
put the volume up?
You know, wrestling's real and stuff, so it's hard to fake those hits.
Yeah,
coming
hell
at
yeah.
you.
Growing up, I was like, man.
So are
shit.
you one of those people?
Yeah, yo, right there.
Yeah,
goes
he's the
me,
one
yeah.
stealing shit from
I'm
the-
one,
from the
yeah,
trash
taking out
can.
the trash and
So
stuff.
are you one of those people?
Yeah, yo, right there.
Yeah,
goes
he's the
me,
one
yeah.
stealing shit from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trash can.
taking out the trash.
So are you one of those?
It just keeps recycling.
It feels like a horror movie.
Oh.
Yeah, see, look, that was a horrible sale. I didn't know. Okay, I'm sorry. A horrible sale.
Oh.
And that was good. That was good. I let her drag me. That's good.
Hey, he's like, you're hired.
Hey, you guys show me the liquor store. What was the liquor store? Or was it the gas station?
The liquor store was
Ya lo
pretty good.
quieres contratar como
Yeah,
test
hell
dummy.
yeah. You guys show me the liquor store. What was the liquor store? Or was it the gas station?
Hey, I wish I knew
Nah,
Spanish because I don't know what that meant.
All right, cool. Hell yeah.
That was painful to watch.
Yeah,
that was crazy. It is,
but
it
nah,
is.
no. Hey, for
Hey, that's
first
some
time,
amateur
first
filming
time,
right there.
hey, first trial run is not too bad, man. I believed it.
No,
I'm saying-
that was terrible. Do not move to LA. This is
Yeah,
not for
I'm not.
you. You
I'm
need
not.
a different
Hey,
career.
I'm not. Hey, that's why I'm not.
Nancy,
being an actor.
what's your next big step in 2025?
I'm actually being very private on how I move currently. So just
Why
know,
is that?
I just I want to keep things to myself now.
Why?
Because I'm working towards them, and until I reach it, then that's when I'll start to celebrate. I'm already seeing things in my head that I want, and some things have already happened for me, and it always worked faster when I didn't talk about them. So I'm always,
Oh, 100%. No, I agree with that. Before you say something like, I want to make sure it happens and it's already on its way, then rather than have it say it beforehand.
I totally
Yeah,
disagree
I-
with that. I'm sorry.
I get it. I understand that. Because, like, I can say the plans that I got going on this year, but a part of me is like, bullshit, man. Like, I've experienced in the past when I say things and then I don't come through, then I feel like a failure in a sense, right?
Yeah, but
And
that
so-
has nothing to
Yeah.
do with the reason it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't because you talked about it.
No, 100%. Yeah.
And you don't know, you could say it, put it out
Yeah.
there, and then someone
Real
could
quick,
hear
real quick,
it.
Somebody sent me a video that they want me to pull up.
Nah, hell no, that's crazy. Hold up.
Hey, watch
Yo,
that.
Roger, what is this?
Click that. Play that.
Who-
Play that.
hey, who said-
Play that. Hey.
Oh, I
you
think I made-
actually,
nah.
you got two actors right here. We're ready to
Hell
go.
no, that's
we're ready
crazy.
To go. Hey,
shit,
we're
I
ready
didn't
to
know
go.
y'all
used
were
to-
famous for.
I used to have.
What's up with the hair, bro?
I used to have
bro.
highlights. Nah, that was
That was the phase back then where it was going straight down your head like that.
That was back when I was like 21,
This is like
22.
8 years ago. Yeah, this had to be a while ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago.
Dude, you look
Dude,
like
you
a
look
rooster.
young, bro. You look young as hell.
What were we trying to say? I don't look young.
No, you-
Yeah,
you look pretty
look
close to
21
now.
right there.
Yeah,
You look
no,
21.
yeah, shit.
All right, cool.
You look.
Especially
You look like
Damn,
car
that's
salesman.
crazy.
You look like car salesman.
I'm gonna find out who the fuck. Hey,
Hey,
who sent that link?
you trying to sell me a car?
I didn't even know that shit was still on YouTube. Okay, all right.
Your
bet.
brother?
It's okay. There's videos of me somewhere out there.
All right,
Oh,
cool.
yeah, on
If it makes y'all
podcast.
feel better.
Yeah.
Well, no, not that one. But
Oh, okay,
what are they called? The girls that are in the music video?
Oh, they're just music video
models?
What?
Models? Yeah, they could be models. They could be models.
There's a
yeah.
name for it. I don't remember.
It's honestly just a model, yeah.
no,
'Cause
but
Amber
there's
Rose
an
was talking
actual.
about
There's
that.
an actual like.
So you were in a music
Yeah, a
video.
video.
Video vixen?
A
Is that what it
vixen.
is?
So you
Oh.
were a video vixen.
Once or twice.
Okay,
Once
cool.
or
Hell yeah.
twice.
Dibbled in that, guys.
Main.
All right. Yo, thank you
Hey,
guys.
we gotta ask
Go
Nancy
ahead.
for this.
Okay,
Hey,
go
you
for
know
it,
what,
go for
ask you. You
What
always
is
ask the
it?
question, but ask Nancy first.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and we're gonna go around the room a little bit.
You know what the question is.
Would you we always ask this question to our guests. What'd you guys think of the show?
Oh.
Nancy first. Yeah. See.
I mean, I arrived late, so I apologize for that. I mean, the show.
No,
is-
it's okay.
The show is good.
Yeah.
Because it's so far, I don't think I'll be coming back. I sat in traffic for like over an hour.
It's
But-
okay. We do
That's
appreciate
all right.
your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But overall, it's so good, and I'm like glad I got to like me and Evelyn had
After
known each other.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've known
it's
each other
been
for
Yeah.
so
years.
long,
Yeah.
and it's good to reconnect, and it's good to like meet you and know what you do too. So it's always good to meet other entrepreneurs in the area.
Hell yeah.
It's
What about
good.
you?
It happened
Evelyn?
for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
What about you,
What about
Evelyn?
I actually liked it, guys. I do think we have to change that title though.
No, hell no, leave
It
that
makes us
shit.
look like we're narca wives.
Why
and
do
I'm like, yeah.
why are women
Or
still
like
single in
all-
2025?
That's a good
But-
question. That's a good question. Very good question.
No, but I liked it. I think that the flow was really nice of the topics, and we started off strong and we finished strong, and I think there was disagreements and everything, but it was very educational, and I'm all for it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Actor?
I really like that we get to do that back and forth,
Yeah.
like disagreeing things,
Yes,
and look at it from your perspective, my perspective, what your life experiences and all that. So it was really good. I think people are afraid to disagree,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Or they get mad. They're like, "Oh, he
Yeah.
disagreed with me," you know. But
and
it's
I
not.
think it's okay. I think we need to learn how to be a little bit more open
Yeah.
and be able to hear the other person, not just listen, but actually like
Yes.
hear what they're saying. So thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, that's honestly the hardest part is to have an open discussion. You got to be able to have an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are so close-minded nowadays. Oh, you think that way? You're wrong. And it's really not that. It's like we said, everybody should be entitled to their own opinion. And just because y'all don't agree on the same thing doesn't mean we shouldn't work together or whatever it is. It just means we don't agree on that specific subject. What about you, Ariel? Last comments. Hey, real quick before you say that, I do have to give shout out to the producer in the back.
Shout out- Absolutely,
Always
100%.
working.
Coming in clutch.
What, what about you, Ariel?
Lone Wolf Ariel Masterclass coming soon. I'm
Wait, I
kidding.
have a question. Why lone wolf? Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? That's a good question.
That's
Where did that
you
come
come
from?
in this world alone, you leave
Yeah,
alone.
you exactly. Hell yeah. You throw me into a pack of wolves, I'll come back leading the pack.
There you go.
With
That's
a bunch of
exactly-
wolves.
Yeah. I don't know how that ties in, but yeah, it's
I
very
think it's a pretty
contrary
cool
to the
brand.
It's
fact.
funny, somebody told me, why is he the lone wolf if he's always around people?
That's a damn good question. That's the
They're roasting you.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, I get it.
He does
yeah.
it to himself, honestly.
Huh? Yeah, 100%. But with that said, go ahead.
All right, appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of Open Discussions. We'll see you